So this is Defy the Gods. Thank you all lovely Gauntlet people for joining me with this. Um, it is a queer sword and sorcery game, and I'm really looking to um, realize both parts of that as fully as I can, the queerness and the sword and sorcery. Um, it so it's a Power by the Apocalypse game, and Um, instead of rolling with stats, you roll two or more dice and take the top two dice and add them. That's your result. Um, 6 or less is a loss, 7 to 9 is a partial success, 10 to 12 is a full success, more than 12 is a monstrous success or a cursed success. And that you get what you want, but you get a lot of other stuff too. It's unpredictable. Um, you start out with 2d6 that you can always roll, and I call those the glory dice. And then as you advance, you get more glory dice. As you fill up your XP track, you get another glory die. And at any time, you can. So obviously, rolling with 2d6 is going to give you uh, almost as much chance of a loss as of a success, and equal chance of a loss and a partial success. Um, the At any time, you can add a d10 to your roll or one or more d10s by marking one or more boxes in your curse track and selecting either then or later when the dust clears, selecting a curse that go with that marked box in the curse track. So that's how you can get more than a 12 on your result. The the um, The curses represent your own dark power or the dark power of one of the forces in the world that you are making yourself beholden to. And it's sort of a when you really must win. And I try to encourage people to check it as much as possible, especially in shorter games. Um, it gets fun, but that's the and then after you roll, somebody that is in a relationship with you can roll the heart dice that they have in their relationship with you, and then you can pick any one of those dice to replace any either of the two dice that were in your result. So if you rolled too low or if you rolled too high and you don't want to go to a cursed success, um, you you can ask somebody else to roll and you can select one of their dice. If you don't select one of their dice, their relationship with you loses intensity and they mark experience. If you roll a loss, a miss, a failure, you mark experience. There are a couple other situations in which you might mark experience too. That's the basic mechanics. The world is made up of 6 opposing forces that all of which are a problem. They're very powerful, and there's a move for asking them to get stuff done for you, but they always expect something from you at the best. If they don't expect something from you, it's because they're actively trying to stamp you out. Those forces are the pantheon of gods, which we'll build together, the chaotic force of sorcery that the gods are terrified of, the city, which is any city, but there will be one city that's sort of a home city that we make, and the wilderness or the wilds where the giant animals roam, and the animals would love to scatter every brick and stone of the cities, and the cities would love to enclose and exploit every acre of the wilds. And then there's death, which wants to consume all the spirits and hold them in its vault in the underworld, which is opposed to the spirits who have never known death, existed before there was death, and are sort of the small gods of the world that inhabit trees and rocks and teapots and moods and moments. And there are millions of them, and they don't have the power of the pantheon of gods, but they have these little humble powers. And they also come from a hidden world that is totally surreal that we don't know anything about. Um, so so those are the 6 forces that sort of I introduced to try to give some texture to the world, but we will fill in a lot of blanks about those after we make characters. So So we'll go left to right with the characters tab, skipping the relationships part of each playbook, and then we'll fill in the world forces, which will, if anybody plays the Mystic, will also give you information about which god you might want to ally yourself with. And then we'll fill in the relationships of the party, which I think will make more sense after we have a world to bounce off of. Because a lot of the questions in the party questionnaire is like, involves different forces in the world. And I can go over the basic moves too. But for starters, anybody have any questions? Okay, all right. Yes, Jonathan.
Once you get a curse or mark a curse track,
Mhm.
is the only way to clear it to get all your curses and
No,
fulfill the track?
there's a core move, a basic move that is to soothe somebody, and
Mhm.
you do that by rolling the dice you have in your relationship with them, and that can heal a wound, unmark your moods, and or I should say, unmark one of your curses. And there might be other ways to unmark curses, but I don't think so. I think that's it. Does anybody have a preference for a playbook that caught their eye?
I was thinking either sorcerer or mystic. I like to sling
Awesome.
around magic and shit. So
Awesome. The magic for the sorcerer is random. It's a bit like, so you roll the dice and look for patterns in them. So it's a bit like haruspices or one of those divining things. Um, if you don't find a pattern, then sort of wild magic goes around. It counts as a loss. Uh, um, so in my experience, people have usually found something that matches, if not the thing they were intending, but there's some randomness to it. As you advance and you get more dice to roll, it becomes easier to predict. It becomes less random because you have more dice to pick from. The Mystic, their magic comes from the wounds they suffer, or that they can, basically they can hurt themselves, sort of take HP loss in exchange for glory or borrowed glory from their god. And um, and so it's a bit of a game of chicken that you get these glory dice that you can spend on your magic, but you don't want to top out and be taken out of the scene because you marked your last wound.
sorcerer sounds a little bit more my speed.
Okay, all right.
If everybody's
Yeah.
okay with that.
I think the Mystic was my first choice. I could also do the sword.
Cool.
I like the look of Wolfling and I think I just played a bunch of sword-ish folks recently, so I would like to do something new that isn't smashing. Not that aren't amazing ways to do smashing, but maybe Wolfling? What do you think, Jonathan?
I'm choosing to remain blissfully ignorant, so I can pick whatever's left over. I'm happy. Yeah,
Sounds like we have sorcerer, mystic,
I'll make it work.
wolfling. So the sword and the sailor are left. Although Elle, if you decide you'd rather do sword, that just speak up. But
No, if no one
okay.
else is looking at Mystic, I'll take it.
Okay.
Jonathan, just so you know, it's like the first part of the sailor is you are flirtatious and promiscuous.
I saw. Which do you guys want? I'm happy to do whatever. Which does that sound more appealing, Mads?
I mean, it's like, woo, the eye just got drawn.
Yeah,
Really,
yeah, let's
how
do
you
it.
feeling? How you feeling tonight, today?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's rock and roll.
Awesome. Okay.
I've played with Elle before, so she knows.
Was detecting some history here, maybe a
Very
reputation.
excited. Yeah.
Okay, cool. You go ahead and fill in the pick lists. It'll populate your character name and pronouns at the top. after you pick them from the list,
Okay.
and then we can introduce ourselves to each other.
Okay.
So if I'm correct, I should skip over choosing my god for now.
I think that's going to be most straightforward. Yeah, you'll get to
Okay.
choose you'll get to design a god in the world building stage.
Okay,
And-
cool.
yeah. And Jonathan, you can totally write in your own name there, and it'll populate at the top. And Elle, if you want to skip ahead to the yellow section of the World Forces tab, you can start picking some details of the god. But otherwise, we'll all get there. Yeah, I thought that Elle might be dropping. She'll be back.
Chris, with the spells for the sorcerer, it says one or more regular spells below to choose. Did
Choose.
somebody already choose spells or?
No, there's some that are pre-selected.
Okay,
You can
okay.
choose
Just wanted to
two
make sure.
more.
Okay.
So that to bring it to 5. Oh wait, did I say one more or two more? Oh,
You
one
s-
more.
Yeah, because look at there's
4, 5,
6.
6. Right. Sorry, I was reading the wrong section.
Okay.
Yeah, pick one more.
Okay. Let's see.
Hi, sorry about that. Zoom did something.
Oh,
It was so funny. You were so still, and I was like, is like your face looks like the kind of face that like it could be that way for a while. So it took me a while to figure out that you'd actually frozen.
I was getting into character. She's very sage. She's very calm.
very
Right.
seeing into the future and the past and the present. Yep.
It was very sage-like for sure.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna leave my camera off for now and see if that helps.
Okay. If you run into it again, I'll turn my camera off. The less load on the system, the better. Awesome. I'm gonna hide the sword for now. So-
That'll be Ray's himbo for later on.
For sure. Yeah, I was thinking it's not a bad one to leave for Ray. Okay, awesome. Let's go in character keeper order and introduce your characters. Mats, do you want to start?
Sure. Give me a second. All right. Do I read the flavor text in the beginning?
You don't have to. Whatever will get across the character to others. If you want to, you can.
Okay. There is a power in you, unnameable, older and more powerful than this world. You stole it, but at the same time, it has always been yours. Silvery Atlantean scrolls revealed it to you. Unexampled, mysterious, ancient, but utterly new. Now you know. Inside everything that looks solid, simple, or constant, there is something else waiting to be born. So I picked Circe as her name.
That was hot.
She, her, yep.
That was awesome.
Gender is a whispered secret. Hypnotic eyes. A body wishing to escape its confines because of the roiling energies that Circe knows and tries to control. Her body is more of a kind of a vessel, joke for between players, and feels like it wants to leave the limitations, and then always feels like there's something swirling underneath that's trying to get out. And headgear, some ground glass spectacles, and manner like hollow voiced. It's like just kind of speaking from again from spaces and places that don't have any limitation. And I just added the additional detail: dark red black waves of hair that move in a wind that is not there.
Awesome. That is so great. Jonathan, why don't you go?
Okay. I just made a last minute amendment. So last second amendment. But this is I'm playing the sailor, and I'll read their name is Etienne. And they are flirtatious and promiscuous. New lands, new cities, new people. Staying in one spot doesn't suit them at all. With each new heartfelt relationship, they feel the tension of staying or departing for somewhere new. So Etienne is a sailor on the Amagi. Their pronouns are they, them. Their gender ebbs and flows with the tides. Their eyes are blue as clear sky. Their body is soft as satin, but hard as steel. Their dress, I'm picturing like white collar, long flowing kind of shirt, and with ruffles and black pants, all kind of like fine cotton. And their manner, which I just updated from jolly to playful. I thought
Love
that
it.
was better. Yeah.
Love it. Awesome.
All right. Thank you.
All right, let's say 10. Nice. Elle, please, when you're ready. Go for it.
Sure. I'll be playing Ampix. Her pronouns are she, her. Her gender is a heavenly star. I kind of interpret that as meaning someone who kind of commands attention with their sort of quiet beauty, but like cares not at all for the attention that they get. Like you can admire a star from Earth for as long as you want. The star will never notice or care. And that's sort of her vibe. She has dark shadowed eyes. Her body is ascetic, very thin, purposefully so. And she carries stone tablets of the elders. I don't know what those are about yet, but I'm sure we'll find out. Her outlook is sage.
Very cool. Right. Serene and uncaring. It's really interesting. Matt, go for it.
I am playing Camille. Camille's pronouns are she, they, and Camille's gender could be described as lightning on the cliff. My foster parents that I was raised by, the vast creatures of the wilderness that are very powerful, is Suat of the Cat Clan. Definitely imagining mountain cat vibes. Sharp claws, very perceptive. For my face, I chose subtly expressive, as if your ears could move. So I think I'm always saying little things that ordinary human perception can't really pick up on, but those who know me really well might know what I'm feeling. My body is sinuous and coiled, so very muscular, as though I'm about to leap across a 20-foot gap in the cliffs. Dress is furs. I think they're pretty matted. I think they probably don't smell good. I'm definitely thinking a little goblin-y for this creature. Definitely a bit of a goblin child. But is also full of wonder. I think a lot of that is about people. I think I'm certainly very taken with all three of you, if and when or when we meet in our story, because you're all very wondrous people, it seems. I was and yeah, I was kind of still picking up my moves, but I think we'll just wait and see what else emerges.
Okay, yeah, I forgot to give time for picking out the moves. Totally, we'll make sure that everybody gets a chance to spec those out, and I'll go over the basic moves in more detail. Let's skip over to the World Forces tab and start in the yellow section. Let's see. Elle, it looks like you already started sketching in the first god.
I did.
Awesome.
I guess so. I think the first three sections make perfect sense to me. I'm curious if there's anything special about how the natural world and concepts part fit in. Yeah.
They're just different categories of concepts. I think random ones are as good as ones that are more conventional, random combinations, I mean.
Mhm.
So they're just other areas where this god holds sway against
Cool.
the other gods and against sorcery. So yeah, so does anything in the natural world or concepts jump out at you?
Yeah, I'm looking. I always like a good snake, so I'm very tempted by serpents.
There's always a story that can join all these together. You know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, well, these serpents. Oh, the concepts are so good.
Chris, should we all pick one?
Yeah. Who picked Anur? That was Mads? Okay, yeah, go for it. Yeah, you can each just take your own row. And if anybody picks the same domain as somebody else, we'll just work it out. And then when you're all done, we'll just introduce the gods with any additional narrative that that you want to add.
feel like we really have a theme going here, like ocean tides sort of thing.
It's very
Cool.
cyclical, which is what I'm thinking about while I choose the last one.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mads, do you mind if I do a god with water as well, for the sea? Oh, Mads, you're muted.
I'm gonna go ahead and change that. No worries.
Oh, no, 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 you can keep it.
No. I
I'm
will. I
cool.
was like,
Oh,
because I was thinking of something else besides, like, a little bit different from storms, but I picked water because it was like it was obvious. But since you're picking water, I'm gonna actually pick something else. So give me a second. Here we go. There we go.
you sure?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Cool, cool.
And then Mads, if you want to pick 4 domains for sorcery too, go for
Okay.
it.
Cool.
And then you can select 2 items from those those checkboxes below.
Okay.
Choose 10 tendencies sorcery has.
Got it.
Chris, can we modify the concepts or do they have to be from that list?
Oh, you could totally modify them. Yeah, type in
Okay,
what
cool,
you
cool.
want. Yeah,
Cool, cool. Oh,
oh,
I lost it.
that'll be instructive for me too, just to think what else could be on there. Do you want to introduce Lithor? Is there anything more you want to say about her that's not just represented in the pick lists?
I'm not sure. I think I think Luther's followers, Ampix being one of them, are meant to, in a strange way, in a strange kind of metaphysical, conceptual way, like subsist on secrets. So that's one reason why Ampix looks the way she does, because she is supposed to feed and sustain herself on the like kind of deepest, perhaps darkest secrets of others. And that is like the highest form of worship to Ampix. It's learning a secret and keeping it, letting it kind of live inside you.
Wow, that's intense. I hope that Ampix is also eating like food.
I think she certainly is, just not publicly.
I see. Okay, cool. Who made Honor? Go for it, man.
Okay. So Honor is he, they. I imagine that the broad domain is storms, because in the natural world, I mean, he integrates and he appears through the air and winds, and then kind of forms. And just like the storms, he also kind of forms dreams.
Hmm.
And then it's for mortal affairs, it's like travelers who not only dream of finding new places, new people to meet, but also kind of taking them and there's a saying about like being wherever the wind will take you, you know, let your feet, like something about like, you know, like let your feet lift, and then like just let the wind take you wherever it will, something like that. It was like a something, and that's kind of like what the feeling I get when I think of Anur. So
Awesome. That's great. There's a sort of wherever you end up is where you're meant to be kind of thing there.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Elle, what is it about serpents that is connected to the moon and secrets and mirrors? Just going back to Lithor for a sec.
That's a good question. I think it's the idea that it's like the image of a serpent eating its tail, sort of.
Oh yeah,
Ouroboros.
Ouroboros. Yeah.
Yeah. The kind of, the cycle of day and night, and then also just like the kind of literally like the round shape of that. And I think there's also probably, I think Lithor herself is depicted in the form of a serpent.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And perhaps it's said that the moon is Lithor's eye or something, and like Lithor is this like giant snake that lives in the sky. It's like that kind of thing.
Yeah, awesome. Oh, that's great. Okay. Back to Zuz. Which of you made Zuz?
That was me. But I'm thinking of it as Zuz.
Zuz, sorry. Zuz.
Yeah, Zuz.
Yeah. Zuz,
Yeah.
that's better. Yeah.
Yeah, just like I thought that gave like sort of like sea and movement kind of vibes. And yeah, so yeah, Zuz is they them. I can't yet picture like a human personification for Zuz yet. But I wanted to have a god of the sea for Etienne to believe in, and that was something. So it kind of I wanted something that kind of fed into his kind of personality a little bit, so a little bit selfishly. So I apologize, everyone. But I was thinking that yeah, so obviously with the broad domain of the sea, the natural world is the water. And I was thinking like for just reading the brief blurb you had, Chris, at the start about like a Mediterranean style kind of Bronze Age setting, that the water gave a lot of the communities relied upon the water and the ocean for travel and trade and food, and that was very much like their connection to like that fortune adventure. So that's why I've got kind of like those overlapping things there. So that's what I was thinking. I was also thinking, Mads, that Zuz and Anur, it would be really cool if Zuz and Anur had kind of like sort of familial kinship or relationship.
Yeah.
Like maybe they're brother and sister or lovers or something like that.
Right. I like that.
That kind of like created that, helped kind of like create that dichotomy between them. Like one is more tempestuous and the other one is a bit more playful.
Yes.
Does that sound good? Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think, let's see. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, I don't necessarily consider Noor of the like, forcefully pushing towards a certain thing. Again, this whole idea of like, wherever the wind will take you, that's where you belong kind of thing. And I think, I mean, like Zuz kind of plays into that a little bit. Like
Yeah.
maybe that's like, feeding into the playful nature of their relationship. So it's like, I just keep thinking of this couple and like, like somewhere in the ether, like, just like, having fun and not really like being serious about what they're doing kind of thing.
Mm,
That sounds cool. Yeah.
I love that too. I think that's great. They're both kind of capricious.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
And it's interesting because it's a big playful time for them, but people get killed out there, like
Yeah.
humans, mortals, their ships sink when the storms and the sea come together. So, I love the idea of them as sort of playful companions to each other. But there's also like a lot of danger out there. And it'll be interesting to see how that all comes together. Matt, do you want to talk about Dusha?
Yeah, sure. Um, love a good god of death. I think that um, the gods harness the world's abundant life force to populate the earth, skies, and seas with wonderful creatures. And I think that death is sort of what can create that possibility and allow for that like power to come into the world. I'm imagining it as more of the cyclical side of death, the decomposition that feeds the new life, and the I guess the personification of Pusha is like one who would take away the fun toys in order to like make things happen, and like I think no one loves them necessarily, although they respect the necessity and the power of it. It can be definitely a ritualistic, like even it can, the darker side can be like sacrifice to allow for openings. Like I was looking at gate in Mortal Affairs, gates. So I chose hunters, but there's also maybe gates a little bit too. It's definitely like death is an ending, but it's also a beginning and allows for possibility. And I think forests are a very clear crystallization of that idea because there's just constant death, and that it allows for forests to be what they are. And then I chose hunters for the Mortal Affairs because I think that people who are hunting respectfully would honor Dusha and honor the life force that comes from the death of whatever they hunt. It's hard. It's definitely hard not to take your character into this process a little bit because we've all been like jamming on, an idea, and then it's like, well,
yeah, sure. Who made Medad?
That was me. I'm just like
Awesome.
just like throwing some shit out there.
Cool.
Yeah, Medad. So broad domain is like wisdom, and then the natural world of like how people look to the stars and the cosmos to be able to make patterns and then be able to make sense of the world from how they perceive things. So, I mean, constellations meaningful to, well, whomever created the constellations, you know, Orion's belt and all this kind of thing. They see the patterns in it, and then they glean wisdom from how they are steering by stars, or how they are perceiving the stars to tell a story, or to kind of make their way up, like looking up at the space. And then, you know, there's also like that whole idea of like luck and fortune. It's like, you know, good fortune if you steer towards, like, you know, one star, and then, like, you know, may your luck be fruitful if you find your way by the light of the stars. And then there is the music of the universe. So that's kind of like a how some people will honor Madad, because they hear like the cosmic sounds, like things that wouldn't necessarily be music to normal people, but I mean, like, to them it's like they hear the strains of the stars moving through space. They hear the melody of like planets moving, just like, just again, just I keep on thinking of like whole planets, because I mean, like, it's just like
Mm.
such a powerful like piece. And yeah, I mean, I can see like this kind of thing weaving through um the mystique of Medad.
Love it. That's awesome. Um, you also feel free to add more gods later if you want to. Uh, well, Naz, you want to say a little bit more about sorcery's domains?
Yeah. I mean,
The
where
cracks in the world that the gods don't control.
yeah, they don't control destiny. They want to. They really want to, but I mean, when it comes right down to it, I mean, it's the one thing that, again, like, free will brings. And while you can think about possibly steering destiny, I mean, every decision, every choice leads to a different path. And so, you know, sorcery helps create the cracks. So this way, it's like, if you need to, you fall through, and then you can, you know, try a different pattern, a different path. And of course, the shadows are, you know, again, perceived differently depending on the light, and who moves through the shadows, and which also dives, like, kind of weaves into illusion. I mean, you think you see versus what actually is, and then what actually is may be completely different to someone else. Like relationships, you and I can have a memory, but we remember it completely differently. And gates, um, yeah, I mean, this whole idea of passing through, I mean, maybe leading to other places, other spaces, and, like, are the gates open or are they closed? And who gets to open them and how? So,
And are you a different person when you're on the other side of one
oh
than
heck yeah.
before
I
you
mean, again,
entered?
it's a whole that the whole perception thing, you know? It's
Yeah.
like grass is always greener, but I mean, like, again, is the gate really open?
Nice. I love it. Okay, let's pick two gods who have taken an interest in, we could say, morals in general, or in you four in particular. Is there a god that in their own oppressive way tries to help you out of the ones that we've defined? Which seems most likely to do that kind of thing?
I guess I should ask, is there, do we have an understanding of what we are as a group and how these gods might be helping us together or individually?
Uh, Not really. We can move on to the party tab and do this after that.
I was just wondering if we
But
had something to work from.
well, I mean, okay, so we know who you all are, and in previous iterations of this game, we have done relationships in a more abbreviated form before getting into all this. So we could skip to that tab. It's just a lot. It's a lot of questions. Not that you have to answer all of them. So do you all want to do that and come back to the gods and magic?
It would help me understand what interest the gods might have in us, or how they might want to interact with us, knowing like who we are to each other and what we're doing and that kind of thing. But we could also, that could also inform our later choices. So I'll sit on the fence.
Well, let's come back to which gods are taking an interest and talk about, Mads, do you want to talk about the tendencies of sorcery?
Oh yeah, so definitely sorcery also dreams distracted of millennia past. So, I mean, again, this whole idea of perception. So, time is not a linear thing. So, I mean, millennia past for us is something that could be in the past's future, and then like, the present of something else. And also too, I mean, like, the gods living for a very, 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 very long time. They're existing in this, but sorcery could be dreaming about this particular past or that particular past that actually exists at the same time as we're going on. So it's a distraction. And of course, gotta sow chaos in the world, because why the hell not?
Awesome.
That's my own personal view of sorcery anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do the blue section on this tab. I don't know who went last, so I'll go with Jonathan. Do you want to pick a terrain that you want to see?
Can I quickly add something I had just thought of
Sure.
on the gods section?
Yeah.
Just while Mads was talking about sorcery. I think that when the Atlanteans were rising to power, that Dusha, the god of death, was one of the most weakened by that, because they were on their way to conquering death. And I also think that Dusha was the most powerful weapon in bringing them down at the end. So there might be some vengeance or some nastiness there. But I was just thinking about their relation, all the different gods and how they would have related to the Atlanteans, and then how they interact with sorcery too, because sorcery is deliciously, it's delicious. Let's do blue.
Oh, that sounds cool. I did want to ask, just because we were talking, like, because my character is so, there's a lot of flirtation and sexual stuff associated with it. I just wanted to double check, because I noticed that Matt hadn't yet done the romance tab, so I just wanted to check.
Oh yeah, Matt, do you want to do that?
About that, if that's cool, because I saw that there was a god, one of the domains was sex, and I was like, well, like,
we've got a veil on sexual interactions and sexuality.
Yeah,
my bad, I had not scrolled to the side yet, but it's all cool with me.
Okay,
romance me.
Romance and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so we can get romantic. We'll just fade to black for anything sexual
and stuff. Yeah. But I just wanted to double check with all that before. Yeah, that's cool.
Thanks, Jonathan.
No, thanks, Matt. Sorry about that. All right, cool. The wilds. Yeah. So the wilds are the areas outside of the city, and
right. Yeah. So city states are very bounded, and they might have their farms and stuff outlying them, but then it's just trackless wilderness. And there's other cities out there, and some of them you know how to get to, and some of them are just rumors. So they're kind of in a way self-contained, although they do a lot of trade with other city states.
And the idea is that it's kind of personified in that the terrain or like the wilds is trying to engulf or consume the city, and they're
Yeah,
in conflict. Is that right?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
And
I'm actually just trying to delay so I can make my choice. No. It's true. I like islands. Can we have islands?
sure,
Is that cool? Awesome.
yeah. Elle, do you want to pick one?
I do want to. Let's see. Sorry, I'm so indecisive.
There are too many good options on all of these pick
Mhm.
lists. So
No,
Yeah,
it's really cool. I love all the choices.
Oh, I'm glad.
islands
Or-
are good. I feel like, yeah, we have like a sea motif going on. So I like a good mountain.
Mm.
I'm like feeling some waves like crashing against the bluffs, all of that.
And that's,
Um,
I think, where Camille's people come from, right? Mountains.
yes, the crag cats.
Yeah.
Nice.
oh, amazing. Should I leave mountains for you to define?
No, of course not. You should do it.
All right.
And yeah, so there's a thing that autofills in there if it's a place that's exploitable for its resources.
Got it.
Um, so Matt, go ahead and pick next.
Okay. Hmm. So it surrounds the city. Okay. I can't say no to a good swamp.
Love it.
I'm looking at the background of Mad's your video there, and that looks good to me.
Yeah. Okay, back to the top of the order, Mads.
Okay. I play a lot of Trophy Dark too, so it's like let's see. What do I like?
And Jonathan, if you want to pick a creature from the beast, birds, and fishes list before it.
For contrast, I think I'm gonna add a desert.
Okay, all right. We've got 2 more sessions, so I think there's time to bring it all in. Oh, awesome, Matt.
It was already in a folder on my computer, so here it is.
Where is that? Is that
That's
China?
gorgeous.
I believe it's China. I could not tell you where specifically.
Nice.
Yeah. Elle, do you want to pick a creature from the beast, birds, and fishes tab?
Yes.
And Matt and Matt's go for it too. I think I'll just pick probably simultaneously.
Ghoul?
Yeah, they're not all creatures we see around.
Awesome.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
So are these, this is a row, whatever we're choosing belongs to the terrain?
No, it
right?
doesn't belong to the train.
Oh.
Those are totally separate, and
Oh,
they're separate
that's
from the
pretty
terraces
clear.
and views too.
I see.
That's
Because
pretty clear. There are.
they're separated by
I
guess,
tried to,
blanks.
yeah, but
You
it's
did a great
inevitable
job,
to
Chris.
do a
Nice.
a connection.
Oh wait. Oh my gosh, Manticora. Shoot, that's funny. Somebody brought in a baby Manticore in one of my
Really?
improv games. It was so hilarious.
Wow. There's
Oh,
a
man.
there's a comic book with a really charming manticore in it. Have you guys heard of this comic book? Darwin Carmichael is Going to Hell.
No.
No.
Oh,
my
it's so
gosh.
good. I mean, it's obscure, you know. I just found it in my comic book shop, but like it's about a guy whose moral balance is on the negative, and he's just a 20-something-year-old guy working at a barista job somewhere, and like, but he's going to hell, and everybody knows it because it's like all these mythic creatures and people are real. And he's got a friend slash pet who's a manticore who, although like hundreds of years old, is in manticore terms just a tween, and is very cute. And likes boy bands and stuff. It's great.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah, real scene stealer. Anyway, you all can pick more than one creature if you want.
Oh, thank heavens.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I'm gonna pick a boar just for fun, just for regulars.
Another Mononoke moment there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And then I've
Yeah.
totally lost track of the order. So pick Terrors and Wonders as it moves you. And then we'll just go to the top of the order for the city.
Well, we done gotta have an Atlantean tomb. My goodness.
Mhm.
It's very Conan.
Oops. Did I pick Griffin or did somebody else pick Griffin? Okay,
It's
cool.
Jonathan.
I thought I just might have clicked on it. I wanted to know. Rare. I gotta go Cliff of All Winds. That one's for me. I just I gotta do it.
Right.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's pretty dope. Yeah.
Very nice.
I was tossing up between Sunken Temple and Shipwreck, but
Yeah. I was gonna go Shipwreck too.
well, should we do Shipwreck instead?
No, don't do
I was
instead.
so
I
on the
mean,
fence.
Maybe
well,
it's both.
yeah.
Ooh, yeah, I like that.
Maybe there's a
Do
lot of
that.
shipwrecks because they all are going to the Sunken Temple for some reason, and maybe they shouldn't be doing that.
Sunken Temple, that is a shipwreck.
Yeah, maybe there's a temple in the shipwreck,
Yeah.
or yeah, there's a lot of
I-
possibilities there.
Yeah,
It's a cursed place, right?
For
It's kind
sure.
of like it's probably what's at the heart of the Bermuda Triangle.
Exactly what I
yeah,
was thinking.
that's right.
Amazing.
I'm writing this down. Mads, do you want to pick the city name? I forget if I was on mute when I said that.
Let me see. Where's okay, got it.
Yeah, under local city. Yeah.
Right. I don't know. I'm like that first one just speaks to me. Babelos.
Awesome.
Babelos.
Fabulous.
Jonathan, where is it located? So what natural features is it near?
Got to be on an island.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, the sea's really figuring big here. Elle, what products is this city known for?
Let's see. I'm getting strong like Greek island vibes from this, so I'm gonna go with olive oil and figs.
Ooh.
All right.
Nice.
Matt, how is the city ruled?
Oh my god, it just says creature. That's crazy.
Oh,
Wow. My eye just stopped there.
It's a popular choice.
Stick it. Stick it.
Oh geez. Yeah, yeah,
Maybe it's ruled by the ostrich.
Hey, sentient ostrich. That'd be cool. So cool.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
incredible.
Wise ostrich. Yeah.
Yeah, this could be a shadow ruler.
Mm. You
It
saying the
could be
ostrich
more
is a
normal
figurehead?
The figurehead.
The ostrich cuts a lot of ribbons, but doesn't do a lot of
That's right. The real power is the dolphin.
That's right.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
But the ostrich has the capacity to show their displeasure by twisting their neck around and looking at you funny.
Oh, you don't want to
Right.
get that look.
No, you don't want to get that look.
Yeah,
No,
the
pick whatever
ostrich
you want.
inspires fear so that the people will behave.
Mm.
Okay. Let's see. 3 gods with temples here. I think we have to pick Lithor for one, because that's, don't you think, Elle? Because that's Ampix's.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Mads, what's another god that's here? Or another, you can pick both of them if you want.
I mean, it's just, I'm torn because it's like it makes sense for Anur, Zuz, and Medad to have temples here. I'm just not
Well,
sure.
they could
which
all
of the
have temples
three.
here. It helps to pick 3, you know, that are like the focus, but
Maybe who's being neglected is an interesting question.
Ooh.
mhm.
Well, definitely let's say Zuz for sure, because, you know, sea,
I
island.
almost want to say that the ruler is a mystic of Anur or something. I
Ooh.
know
Oh,
we
yeah.
decided on the ostrich, but
Okay.
No, you can do that. Yeah. Yeah.
Because we're on an island, and
Mhm.
is that interesting to you all?
I think it sounds cool.
Yeah, I'm into it.
I'm gonna go for mystic.
Now, would it include the temple for Anur, or would it be like the patron god? Oh wait, no. So like patron god or creature. Sorry.
Yeah, so that list is all creatures, but you
Okay.
could write in a god if you wanted to. You could write an ostrich if you want to also. Although an ostrich on an island is not gonna have a lot of places to run, you know, like.
Yeah, it kind of needs a place to go. I mean, unless it's a big ass island, who knows?
Yeah.
Who would be the last god that would have a temple here? Would it be Anur or Medad?
Okay, sorry, I had them mixed up. I think the ruler is a mystic of Zeus.
Okay.
Zoos, okay.
Because like ships sailing, fish. It's an
Yes.
island. It's an island city. I feel like that is just more of the status quo, and it makes
Sure.
some sense.
Okay.
Either would work, I reckon.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense for both Anur and Zeus to have temples here, given what we talked about with them being sort of like sister deities or, you know, siblings or something. They're intertwined in some way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sounds good.
Cool. Awesome. Jonathan, who is the patron god or creature of Babylos?
Oh no, I've got to choose. I was really, can someone else choose this, please? I'm too conflicted.
Sure.
The ostrich is killing me, and I feel like I'm obligated to go with it, and I can't make a decision otherwise.
I'll pass it to Elle, and Elle, if you want, you can pass it to Matt. But
I'm just gonna pass it back to Jonathan if you pass it to me.
I can't. I'm happy with anything. Someone else choose, please.
go for it,
So
Elle.
either I'm picking one of the gods or one of these creatures that's listed here.
Yeah, but if you want to pick a different creature, you can
Um,
write that in too.
Okay, cool. Ooh. Um, I kind of think it would be interesting if the patron god is one of Anur or Zeus, because I think that has the potential of angering the other if one is kind of exalted over the other.
Oh dear.
Love it.
What should it be? I feel like this city would be more afraid of the ire of Anur, given that they're the god of storms.
Yeah.
So I'm inclined to pick that one, unless
Okay.
someone wants it otherwise. Okay, it's
Makes
Anur.
sense. Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, going back to Jonathan, what object is sacred to the people of the city?
Good question. Well, I have to go look at Anura's portfolios, but dreams
And travelers.
and travelers, that's cool. I don't know, the first one always jumps out at me. But I'm going with eggs, and it's not because of the ostrich. It's not. Hear me
Eggs are
out.
okay, go for it.
I figure because it has like there's some kind of symbology that they have with eggs because you never know exactly what's inside, and so until it hatches, and I feel like there's a connection there with dreams, and also because in trade I figure that eggs are very easily transportable, and they're good source of protein, and it's something that people could bring and gift, like when they trade from island to island and stuff like that. So
Oh, interesting.
it becomes sacred because if they
Sorry, the chat, Matt. It's like, are you saying we're ostrich farmers? I think ostrich eggs are one of the less transportable, or maybe it's for a really special gift, like you bring out the ostrich egg. If you just kind of like them, it's a chicken egg. But please go on, Jonathan. Yeah, so you're saying, yeah, so this is like, it's good road food, but it's also good gifts between cities.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it also kind of has this kind of symbolism, and you can
Right.
paint them and make them artistic, so decorative, so it becomes this sacred kind of
And they have this like
thing.
infinite possibility until they hatch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
Okay, Matt. I think you're next. What landmark is the city famous for? Yes, eggs are gates. Totally, yes.
Exactly.
Which both Dusha of death and sorcery claim. I'll note. So there's something going on there.
Yeah, they fight about it for sure. And maybe sorcery like twists death in order to open more gates than should be opened or something like that. I think it's very contentious with death and sorcery. So famous landmark. I think that I don't need to go further than lighthouse.
Perfect. Yeah. Right on.
This lighthouse might be more than just a lighthouse, but primarily it's a lighthouse. Like maybe there's a library in it, or maybe it's kind of a statue or something, but it's definitely a lighthouse.
I'm picturing that library in Game of Thrones that had windows at the top and then all these mirrors bringing the light down the tower into all the books. in our case, I guess it'd be scrolls and tablets, but like, yeah, maybe it's got both things going on.
Let's say it's an illumination house.
Nice, inward and outward.
That's the response for sure.
Mads, do you want to pick a sacred ritual for the city?
I actually think it's more fitting if
If Elle
Ampix
does
picks
that.
it out, just because.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Sure. Sure. Ooh, all these are fun. I think like a flood festival would be the obvious choice, but I'm kind of drawn to battle commemoration. Maybe it has something to do with that Atlantean tomb outside of the city. Maybe
Oh,
it's like there, but for the grace of the gods, go we kind of thing.
nice. Yeah, totally. Okay, maybe I think maybe Mads. What are the coins made of?
You know what? I think because of the the olive oil and the olives and such, I think they're kind of like green gold.
Interesting. Cool. Okay, great. So we've got Babalos on an island known for its olive oils, olives, and figs, ruled by a mystic of Zeus. Yeah.
I guess we should talk about this now because Anura is our patron god. What exactly does patron god mean to you all? Are we favored by Anur? Is Anur the status quo?
That's a good question. So, I mean, usually the patron god is the one that, like, Athens named for Athena kind of thing, that is considered, they would be on Team Anur. But it could be a group of mystics from all three temples, or it could be a rotating position where a mystic for a different god, comes in a cycle.
Yes, I love that. It could be like a 3-year triadic cycle, and we're in the season of Zeus.
Okay.
Sounds
like
maybe it's like a Chinese zodiac esque thing where there are different birth rituals when Anur is the patron god. People ask each other like, oh, what like god year were you born in, that sort of thing.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my
36
gosh.
or like whatever. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, nice.
I think Luthor is next, and it's not far off, maybe.
I feel like the third season is a bad season. I think it's a weird one.
yeah. Things are about to get all wacky.
Wait, Lithor's the bad one? Is that what you're saying?
Of course, Ampix doesn't think so. But I, as a player, think it probably gets a little weird.
Lithers are like Scorpios for sure.
Oh yeah, the Scorpio energy is very strong with Luthor.
Nice. I'm just looking at shadows. Yeah, for sorcery. Never mind. Let's see. I've just got to write down that thing about the zodiac.
Should we put it in the patron god thing? Because does that supersede that, or is Anur still the patron god, even though we're on a triadic?
I was thinking Anur was still the patron god, but I'll leave it to you.
Okay.
I gotta write down
maybe because of the traveler's domain part, the mortal affairs thing. I mean, maybe that's why Anur is the patron god, because we're kind of like the hub, like travelers visit us.
Right.
for all of our our products and to get gifts of eggs.
I really
Well,
like that.
I think you're
Cool.
probably at some like crossroads of the sea, and people do come from all over, and they might be on their way to somewhere else, but they always bring something to Babalos and take something away from it.
Mhm.
And I think maybe a lot of people come here, given what Jonathan was saying about Anur. I think a lot of people, I think it was Jonathan, come here by accident,
Mm.
wash up on the shore, or find the lighthouse in the middle of the storm and come there, and that,
Shipwreck.
which suggests that maybe the city is rather welcoming of strangers. It would be interesting.
Sounds about right.
But then there's all this sort of treacherous stuff with gates. Like maybe if you go in through one direction, it's a it's like Dusha's kind of gate. And if you go through the other direction, it's like a sorcery gate, and it doesn't have to be
Maybe
a
we're a
normal
hub
gate.
city.
A hub city.
Yeah, maybe we're a hub city in more ways than one. Like it's the very physical. Like everyone sails here from all corners way, and also like the dreams kind of way or the travelers kind of way,
Oh,
where
love that.
people come in and out
Yeah.
from other places too.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wow, nice.
And I also live
Okay.
I also IRL live in a town where it's like you can go on one street that changes names 3 times. So
Awesome.
kind of like that kind of BS.
Yeah.
That's great. We've done a lot. Do you all want to take like a 10-minute break and come back, and then we'll work on the rest of it. Okay, awesome. See you in 10.
See ya.
I am just making notes for all the brilliant stuff you all put down. Hey,
I'm back, but I'm gonna eat something, so I'm just gonna turn off my video for a little bit.
no problem. Elle, are you back?
I am. Sorry, I put it in the chat,
Awesome.
but I didn't actually say it aloud. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, I missed it. Okay, awesome. Let's move on to the party tab. This is totally new, so we'll just see how it goes. Let's see. There are 5 things, sort of basic resources in the city, and another 5 in the wilds. I'm imagining that we're starting in the city just because it's so fully imagined, realized. So, Mads, do you want to pick one thing that you all have in abundance in the city?
Let's see. I think we have creature comforts.
Nice. And Jonathan, do you want to pick one? If you want to pass, that's fine if you're eating. Yeah, I'll go to L. L, do you want to pick another thing that you have in abundance?
I think we have the law's good graces.
Okay. So the law is not after you at start.
Sound disappointed, Chris?
You had me
I'm
pick something different. if
No,
you
no,
were
no, no. That's good.
excited
That's
about...
good. That's totally good. It means these other things are scarce, and that will be interesting too. If you lack good company, but present company excluded, of course. Matt, do you want to pick something that you have in abundance in the wilds? It may be a little abstract right now since you're not there. We haven't really fleshed it out.
I guess I have moves for some of these things.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You do.
I'm
Yeah.
interested in how those interact, but let's two abundances the group shares in the wild. Well, we know we can eat boar and ostrich. No,
You know what? Let's come back to it when you're actually traveling in the wilds, and we'll pick it then. But I think it'll make more sense then.
okay.
So then there are these lists, and there are 4 of you. So you can answer as many questions as you want, but in order to fill out how many heart dice you have in your relationships, I think you only have to pick 3. Originally it was 6, and I just thought that might take too long. But why don't we take turns? Because with 4 people, 3 questions, that's 12 questions. That could take a while. So why don't we take turns in again, character keeper order. Start with Cersei and pick a question to answer, and then what you'll do is you'll select somebody else's name and then fill in anything about the actual narrative that you want to. Now, these are not pick lists; they're just fill in they're free text. So again, we'll see how that goes too. I thought it might be kind of stepping on people's lines to pick for me to write out pick lists. But I didn't want to limit people. But if it turns out that these things do need pick lists, I'll make them for next time. Anyway,
Now, are these questions that the that the other players know about me, or I'm asking them? I'm kind of
this
I
is
always get
things that
confused with
you're
these.
asking about yourself,
Mhm.
and you have the option of involving one other character in that story.
Okay.
But you can also pick no one and say this is just a story about you.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right. What private part of you does sorcery breathe life into? Why aren't you comfortable with how told about this? Hold on, I just gotta look at the sorcery thing again. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's such a juicy question, but I'm like, wait, what am I talking about? All right, Destiny, Shadows, Illusion, and Gates. So I think, and I hope we get a copy of this recording because it's like my memory's shit. So, and I take purple notes. So,
I'm taking a ton of notes, so
yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah, I'll get you.
Okay, so what private part of you does sorcery breathe life into? I think because of its prevalence in shadow and illusion, I think it's yeah, I think it prevents her from really like telling the truth. And then she has to keep up illusions of like, who she really is. And it's not comfortable because then it feels like, she's always putting up some sort of facade. She cannot really be intimate with somebody. I mean, whether it be physical or emotional, because there's always something that's hidden. Like, and because it's a big part of her life, it has seeped into that. And so it's not even like she doesn't want to, it's more like it's created a gate. So she's on one side of the gate and then somebody else is on the other. And of course, the shadows and the illusion are just kind of keeping her apart from others. And I think she's told Etienne about it. But I mean, not sure if he's understanding. Again, this whole gate thing, the whole shadows and illusion thing. She's not sure if he understands it, what she's trying to tell him. Like she's uncomfortable with like, the fact that she cannot be real, I guess. But maybe he's just like, it's be fine. It's like, we are what we are, and yeah. That kind of
Yeah,
thing going on.
interesting. Okay, cool. Etienne, do you want to pick a question? And somebody involved in it.
Sure. Sure. That sounds great to me, by the way, man. So 2 thumbs up. Yeah, I'll just pick from the top as well. Etienne, how did you learn to love voyaging? Who most enjoys hearing this story? Well, I snuck a peek at it just before, and the answer kind of like hit me, like lightning. It was like because I was kind of casting in my mind, like what were some of the reasons, and then it just kind of came to me like the whole thing, like he was in, oh, they were, sorry, not, I'm gonna stuff this up a little bit, so please bear with me, but they were in love from a very young age with someone in the village that they grew up in, and the person that they were in love with, I haven't got a name yet or anything, but was even more whimsical than Etienne was naturally, and they were kind of like this, and Etienne adored them, adored this person. I haven't worked out who they are or anything about them other than that they were this kind of like elusive, mysterious, adventurous, kind of attractive person that they were just completely besotted with. And because of their flighty nature, they like to travel, and it was and the sea called to both of them, and they both answered the call from a young age. And but Etienne's love was not reciprocated, and he and they broke Etienne's heart. And ever since then, that's kind of what's been driving Etienne towards pursuing this kind of like elusive spirit that's taken them from, place to place in pursuit. But like at the same time, it's kind of given them this pain, this inner pain, which prevents them from making that, connection that's lasting, that commitment. So that's why they're kind of like flighty in and playful and not willing to settle down or so it's kind of like they're pursuing this lost romance, but at the same time avoiding it because they're avoiding the pain and the hurt. So that's kind of like it feels a bit strange to be going to the core of starting with the core of the character.
I love it.
So early, but it just kind of hit me. So let's just go with that. And so the story, I think, is that the story of this love, and he even though it's painful, he likes to talk about it and he romanticizes it, and he doesn't. They romanticize it. They don't say, none of the bitterness or the pain kind of comes out. It's just kind of romanticized in this love story of adventure and kind of like carries on. The narrative seamlessly carries on into the present, like as they tell the story.
I feel like that resonates with Cersei's stuff so much. This sort of lack of being totally genuine and honest in trying to express yourself for different reasons, sorcery and the kind of gated nature of it is keeping Cersei from being totally real. And at Etienne, your heartbreak is doing the same. Like you romanticize it, you tell this lovely adventure story, and leave out this stuff that you're also feeling. So who most enjoys hearing that story?
Yeah, I would kind of put it to the group. I feel who would like who enjoys hearing that story.
I think one of my prompts speaks to that one, so I could answer a simpler question that kind of takes the baton from that.
Well, let's just mark
number
down.
12 for me is.
Well, hang on a second. I wanted to go in order, but let's mark you down as the name in that one.
So, Camille.
Yeah, I love that story.
Okay, cool.
Okay, thanks, Matt. If you just hold that thought.
That's
I wanted to get to L. Ampix, do you want to pick one of these questions to answer?
Yeah, I'm going to do the first question. How did your god first lift you up in all their majesty and terror? Who sees in you the person you were before that happened? First question for you, Chris. Is there any benefit to naming two different people for like different aspects of these questions?
The formula in Google Sheets will only record one of them. But you can just pick another question that you're not going to otherwise answer and put somebody's name in there, and then you'll get the mechanical benefit.
Okay. Well, my idea was that the incident that led to Ampix being sort of chosen by Luther was that she saw someone doing something or something happening to someone that she shouldn't have seen, like this big secret that then Luther urged her to keep, and that's kind of like supposed to be the seed of her faith that she sort of carries with her. And I was wondering if that incident could have involved one of my companions here, although I would want them to define what it is. If not, I can just make it an NPC and make up what it was.
Do you have any kind of like feelings, Elle, about it, like or like kind of like images or any associations, like early kind of leanings?
Like,
I
how
have
old
met-
were you?
I don't think it was that long ago. I think maybe it was a couple of years ago. I don't know how old we all are, generally. I was kind of imagining like mid-20s.
Yeah, me too.
So she was like a young adult when this happened.
Okay. Yeah, some of the pick list questions in the beginning imply certain ages, but some of them just don't. So
Yeah, I'm interested if you have any leanings or ideas about it too. Any related parts of the world or something.
Yeah, perhaps it was someone defying a decree by another god, like Anur or Ziz. Maybe it was someone entering or exiting a gate that they should not have. That could be a physical or a metaphysical gate. It could have been someone, having an affair with someone they shouldn't have.
Well, that last one could definitely be Etienne.
So this
But
is something that made you that drew the favor of the god of secrets, right? Like this is something juicy. This is hot goss.
Yeah. I feel like so then it has to have been someone important in the city or someone.
Oh, yeah.
Like big implications.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. You don't have to tell us either. Like you could sit on that, and because it is a secret, so the characters don't know, presumably. But like, I like the idea that it's like somebody really important. And a bigwig in the city, one of the mystics ruling the city, or a god themselves, just caught in an affair.
Forbidden love.
I think whoever it was, Etienne knows that I know, but it's a secret that I'm keeping for now.
Is there like in the temple of back in the temple of Lithor, is there like a big jar that all the mystics say their secrets into, or something? Like, do you do anything ritual with these secrets so you don't feel the need to tell people, or is there some sort of other practice that keeps you from doing that?
What I'm imagining is that when you have these secrets that you're holding, like you're sort of also looking in the world for like signs from Lithor as to when a secret can be unburdened. So eventually all of the secrets that I know, I will have to tell someone else. Lithor will, let me know when and to whom. So that's perhaps another wrinkle for Etienne. He knows that at some point I'm going to have to make this secret known.
Oh, this makes mystics or priests and priestesses of Lithor a lot more political than I was thinking at first. Like, you keep these secrets, but some or all of them have an expiration date that like then you might have all these secrets, like Roddy McDowell in Hollywood, and keeping all these confidences, but then there's a time when each secret has its day, and it's going to be set out in the open. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I think adherents to the cult of Lithor probably have lots of enemies. Like probably a lot of people who like don't want to hang out with them, don't. Yeah, I think there's a lot of complicated stuff going on there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. That's so good. This is all really good stuff. Okay, Matt, thank you for waiting. Go for it with yours.
There are so many good prompts here. I'll just for the first one go with the one that I was thinking of that is rather simple, and that comes from my love of Etienne's story. I think that they remind me most of an animal. I think that Etienne reminds me of a graceful, beautiful, powerful seabird, white plumed, and with wanderlust and an ability to just soar on the winds wherever the winds take them. And that is endearing. And I think it's endearing because I think they also don't know how majestic and hot they are. I think they don't quite know. And that's also endearing too. It's like, you are a powerful creature and you're just going about your life and doing your thing. The second part of the question is, what is the humanness that they see in you? And I know that's kind of hard to answer when I don't even really know my character very well. But
well, this is when we get to know him. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry, what were you saying?
I was just saying that I was seeing if Jonathan has any thoughts about it. I think I've picked from the pick list. I almost want to go with full of unrestrained emotion. Oh, unrestrained emotion. No, I thought it was restrained. No, I want
It
to
could be restrained.
I want to be restrained.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's arguable that Etienne doesn't know how hot they are.
That's true.
But I love that you think that they don't. Like nobody really sees in Etienne what I do. Nobody or Etienne has no idea. How graceful they really are. That's very sweet. But yeah, Jonathan, maybe this is for you. What is the humanness you see in Camille?
Oh, that's really cool. That's a really cool question. I think that kind of like I think that kind of like I wouldn't say naivety, but like kind of like innocence, like that sort of like, but it's more of like a natural, real, untarnished kind of unvarnished kind of um rawness to I think Camille's humanity is what I think is what Etienne sees. Like that Etienne kind of like I imagine that Etienne in their playfulness and their promiscuity deals a lot with flattery and falsehoods and kind of like not guile you know in a duplicitous way, but in a kind of like in a kind of like a masking kind of like just can't in a playful way, it's not that's yeah. Do you know what I mean? And so the absence of that, like the in Camille, the direct like the raw and is kind of the vibes that I'm getting, Matt, from reading your playlist for the Wolfling. Just that kind of like natural raw coiled tension emotion and kind of lack of falsehood of flattery, kind of like that kind of really is appealing, and Etienne sees the value in that and is drawn to it as well. I think I think that's really cool. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes, I am very direct. And I don't know how to lie very well. I don't know how to play the game of secrets.
Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah, the game, that's what I was looking for. Yeah.
I love that you don't know how that the part of the game you don't know how to play is the game of secrets. that's really intersecting with Ampex's thing so greatly. All right, back around. Circe, let me pick another one.
Yeah.
I'm writing down notes as fast as I can, so I could fill this in.
Ampex, do you think that Lithor and Medad have some kind of like rivalry going on? The reason I asked that is because it's going to lead into my question.
Yeah, I'm just I mean I'm probably gonna say yes anyway, but I'm just looking at my dad again.
Yeah.
Yeah, moon versus stars. I see that. I think there's something to play with there.
Okay. So I'm picking, when did your use of sorcery first cause a pantheon god to reach out and try to crush you? And how did you burn their hand? So I think this was early on, and then I think when she was first discovering her power, I think Circe was trying to obscure some truth, some wisdom, by unleashing shadows and kind of interweaving them into a gate to, I think, kind of like hide something away, maybe almost as like kind of a goof on Medad, like, so like, the whole idea that they're the font of wisdom, but then, Circe used her ability to like kind of just like do some kind of mystical graffiti, kind of hiding it away behind a gate. And yeah, of course, like Medad wanted to like smack me down for that. And then I think because of the way that I created the shadow gate, I think it burned them as they were trying to open it back up and release their, their little wisdom shrine or what have you. And I think, I mean, you can tell me if you agree with this or not. And I think every time I tell this story about, what had happened when I first started playing around with my powers, I think Ampex like always smiles a little bit. Maybe not a lot, but a
Yeah,
little bit.
no, I love that. I think, yeah, if the moon is sort of the all-seeing eye of Lithor, you got what you deserved by trying to hide something away from the sight of the gods. Lithor is the keeper of secrets, not you. It's like blasphemy in Ampex's eyes. Maybe a minor blasphemy, because I mean you were already punished by the gods, but
Well, I'm not sure that. Wait, were you punished or was
No,
Medad
like
punished?
basically like yeah, like so
I mean, Medad got burned.
yeah, Medad got burnt.
Oh, it was Medad who got burned. I see.
Yeah.
Oh
So.
yeah, that's even worse. Yeah, I think Ampex smiles because she suspects that your punishment is still yet to come.
Oh God, yeah.
And she will help
I'm
you
sure.
through it, but she will absolutely think you deserved it the whole time. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh no, that's fine.
Oh, so good. Okay.
But I mean, like just the whole thing of like, secrets versus wisdom, and then the moon versus the stars. It's like, I think, like on the surface level, it's like you look like you're enjoying the story. So I mean, and that's how Cersei's gonna take it. So
so maybe like you don't get why Ampex is smiling. Like you're like, well, she's enjoying the story, that's great, but there's this sort of, you're going to get yours kind of smile on Ampex's face.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Jonathan, you want to go?
These answers are so good. I haven't even read the question, so I'm gonna have to choose a question too. Are we starting in Babylos? Is that where we're gonna start?
Yeah, I think so. That's how these. Yes, that's where we start. I'll just say that.
All right. So I think I'll just go with the next one in order. I'm assuming I'm going to rely that they're in an order of
Sure,
for some reason.
they're mostly kind of
Yeah.
in order. Yeah.
So
Ish.
what seems uncivilized about this city compared with others, and who else is repelled by it? I kind of like want to do something about the triadic zodiac that we kind of established, because I think that's really interesting. And kind of draw Cersei into that potentially. So Mads, if you've got any ideas about what Cersei might be repelled about from that the gods might be involved with here, this triumvirate of gods for this city, that would repel you not only from a sorcery standpoint, but also Etienne from like a civilized like traveler kind of standpoint. Maybe there's some sort of custom or ritual that is involved with either one or all of the gods that Etienne is repelled by from the nature of it, but maybe Cersei's repelled by from her sorceress standpoint.
Like other cities. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I'm just trying to think of like how to parlay that into a sorceress kind of thing, because I mean,
Yeah.
like, you know, I think if there's anything uncivilized, like versus civilization, so it's kind of like
I was going to say that, like, you know, each city state has its own version of civilization, and each one is its own experiment that's totally new. And so they have very different values in different places, and maybe it just doesn't seem natural that the gods should be that involved in the laws of the city. You know, maybe it should be enough that they can punish you in these sort of eternal ways, but to also punish you in the city is too much.
Oh, yeah. So the idea of just L's first question for Ampix also came into my mind, like that Etienne knows some secret that that's and the divulging. Maybe Etienne broke one of these uncivilized laws that in this way that kind of ties into Ampix's first question. I'm thinking like that also repels Cersei, like maybe this law repels Cersei as well.
It's like it's almost like a very weird capital punishment almost for something that seems petty.
Yeah,
you know?
something like that. Yeah.
Like
it's like a punishment doesn't fit the crime, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's uncivilized, even though it's law for whatever
reason.
There's
execution, and maybe it's a law that's about the gods, but doesn't actually affect individuals' private lives at all. You know, like capital punishment for some sort of symbolic profaning of one of those gods, or the office of the ruler mystic. I'm just throwing stuff out there. You guys, I've answered you guys.
I kind of feel like it's right, like we've almost got it, but it's just like just got to figure out that detail. What do they do? I mean, just recapping what we know. I mean, eggs are sacred. And
yeah, if you throw an egg at somebody, like maybe that's
that's a high crime, you know, like you get punished in some way that just seems like excessive, and that seems barbaric. I mean, you know.
Could it be like the egg trade, such as it is meant to be sort of managed in some official way by the city? Like there has to be some kind of standard that is like withheld by the law for these eggs that are exported, but there's like perhaps a black market
Oh,
Black
of
market in eggs.
of eggs that the city
and
has
and
been trying to
it's
stamp out.
there's a hypocrisy to it too. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
there's the black market of eggs, and the like you said, the rulers are trying to stamp it out.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool. I'm trying to think what would about it would repel, like, what about that would repulse Etienne and Cersei? What would that? How would that? Maybe if Mads, if you've got an idea of how that might repel Cersei, I might be able to nail it for
No,
Etienne.
yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to think of like how it would be uncivilized, you know? I mean, in terms of
Yeah.
because I mean, essentially, like commerce is kind of civilization right there.
Yeah.
So again, something that doesn't seem
I mean, if you've been
As,
to other cities, as Etienne has, eggs are just eggs. You
Yeah.
know, like it's not a big deal. Why do people make such a big deal of it?
right.
I was just thinking, what if like there's what if it's high, like I like the idea that there's all these rules around eggs,
Mhm.
but what if I'm trying to think of it because Etienne's focus is very much like is very, you know, on the sea, on adventure, but also on love. And so maybe like if you give someone an egg, that means like there's some sort of like obligation, or you're beholden, or like it means that like you're married, or like some
It's
kind
like a
of
betrothal kind of thing.
yeah, it's like, you know, yeah,
You've posted the bands and you didn't really mean to. Whoops.
yeah, like and that kind of like ties in, and it's kind of like a blessing. Like you have to, all the eggs are inscribed with a god, like, you know, associated with it. And so it's kind of like this. If you ever give someone an egg, like it's kind of like a union or a connection before God, like the God. And
Right.
so this that kind of would repel Etienne to some degree, like especially like because it interferes with his, you know, no commitment kind of like, you know, dalliances and stuff like that. And
You weren't
maybe that
sorry.
and I
You
was
weren't. Yeah, go
I'll go
ahead.
for
Go
it.
ahead. No, go ahead. Okay.
And I was going to say that that could be if there was if someone, an important person figure in the city gave Etienne that, and this was kind of like and this became like, and he ignored it or transgressed it or something like that, that would certainly qualify for something, for that secret that Ampix saw and was aware of. And I wonder if that, like this whole kind of custom or tradition, like even religious rule around this, would that repel Cersei? Is that something that um she would find repellent, like the gods mandate? If someone gives you an egg with that was, you know, had a god's name or something on it, that or was that was consecrated to a god, like you had to marry them, or that was something that would
Yeah,
that
because
be
I think
repulsive?
yeah, because it's like, you know, it's like, you know, stepping on sorcery's purview of the whole destiny idea. You
Mm,
know, it's like it's trying to
Mm.
break destiny, and it's like, you know, this no, you're like, you know, you're trying to force this. I don't think so.
mm,
Yeah,
mm.
she'd hate
So
that.
does that work? Does that kind of work for
Yeah, I think
everyone?
so. I mean,
Yeah.
Question
Cool.
about the egg betrothal.
Yeah.
Um, has Etienne already, like whether it's like accepted or not, have they already sort of weaseled their way out of it or like declined it unequivocally? Or
Yes.
is like someone in the city like planning a big wedding for themselves and
Oh.
Etienne still
Oh.
oh
with no
Oh.
idea that
no.
he's not intending to go through with it?
Oh no.
So
I really
either
like that.
they're planning a big wedding right now, and Etienne has no idea, or there was a big wedding planned, a whole big deal was done, and Etienne didn't show up, and now that person's gunning for you. You know, so it could be either one. You could be that the betrayal is yet to happen, or that it happened already and now somebody important hates you. Both are good.
I really like all of those. I was kind of trying. I was kind of trying to. Yeah. No. How would it work, Elle, with your first one? Like, how could you see it working? Because I like the idea of tying it into that, if we can, like that. Etienne got caught up in this, and like in this kind of scandal with someone important in a romantic kind of scandal with someone important in the city, and it's a secret, and Ampix knows Etienne's secret, and just how that kind of, and that Ampix is going to have to disclose it at some point, and Etienne's worried about that. So how do you see kind of like the whole wedding thing, or like, you know, sacred exchange kind of tying into that?
Yeah. I wonder, this is like kind of a third option to what we've been talking about, but I wonder if you like were able to find kind of a loophole out of this. Like maybe you had to swear to one of the gods, like whoever had consecrated the egg or whatever, I don't know. But you had found some way that would be like kind of socially acceptable to like wriggle out of it. But if and when I divulge this secret about like why the wedding actually didn't happen, that's going to make things blow up all over again, and even worse.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Like, so there was this public wedding, like everyone knew about it. Like, either Etienne gave someone the egg, or they gave it to Etienne. It was all arranged, but then Etienne found this loophole, and Ampix knows that the loophole doesn't actually really apply, and Etienne knows that, and it's going to get exposed at some point in the future. So
yeah,
I had this thing of like, you know, it was just that gloaming hour between the cycle of Litor and the cycle of Honor, where you managed to catch that supposedly you caught that golden time where, because it was in transition, it's not official. Like,
that's awesome.
You know, because it was supposed to be given in the cycle of Latour, but then, you know, you gave it in the cycle of Honor, and it's like, you know, it's not legal, it's not binding or something.
And I'm there like, bitch, it was noon. I saw
it. Nice. Love it.
Sounds good. God. All right, so I'm going to put Cersei in there.
Okay. Just got to write down. The
egg scandal.
Egg scandal. That's right. And I like the golden. The golden was great, so it's going to be golden egg scandal.
Oh my god.
A golden egg. Nice. Okay. Wow.
Oh my god.
Wow.
So fun.
Wow. Okay. All right. Ampix, you're next. This is...
I should have been thinking more about these questions.
You had a lot to think about.
Get so involved in listening to everybody else's story because you're like, what?
I know, right? I'll just do the second one. What was a moment when your god appeared to you physically? How did it change you? Who else was there? Or who do you wish had been there? I'm imagining that, so after Ampix saw this thing that she wasn't supposed to see and knows this thing that she's not supposed to know, I think she found out that she was then becoming a chosen of Lither, because like, you know, that night she had this weird compulsion to like sleep outside, like under the moon. Like she couldn't get comfortable in her bed and was like, okay, well, I'm gonna sleep outside. Kind of like on the edge of the city and the wilds, I think. And at night, Lither appeared to her as like this this group of like writhing white snakes kind of glittering in the moonlight. They like crawled all over her, they like bit her all over her body, like she was sick for days after, like poisoned, vomiting, all of that, becoming very thin. And I wonder if maybe Camille found her out there and helped like take care of her in that time.
Hmm. Can you tell me a little more of what like what this ritual had to do with, or what brought you out here? I think I didn't pick up on that.
I think this is the kind of initiation into Lither's cult. Lither appears as these snakes and visits herself upon her new priestess or priest or whoever.
So it's more of an enunciation than a ritual in a way, right? Like you just couldn't sleep because you were wrestling with this problem, this secret, and you walked out into the moonlight and the snakes were there, or was it a deliberate kind of I'm looking for the snakes thing?
It wasn't deliberate on
Okay.
Ampix's part. Like she
Okay.
was making camp outside, or like, you know, sleeping outside. I don't know. It was she thought it was weird, like what was happening, and did not expect that. So from her perspective, she wasn't enacting a ritual so much as this
right.
event happened to her.
Right. She wasn't looking for it, and Ampix, or I mean, Lither appeared as these snakes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I love that. I don't know if I caught a glimpse of Lither, but I definitely like the idea of having come across you afterwards and maybe feeding you. And you had just been burdened with this secret that you had been keeping and been like tormented by enough to go out wandering in the wilds. So what kind of state were you in after you were visited?
Well, sick with snakebite for one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like physically ill, disoriented. Yeah, I think she would have appeared to be in a pretty bad way. Like someone coming up on her in the night would think, oh, this person's like in the middle of the wilds about to die. You know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think maybe I tend to your injury as though we're just a regular snake bite, and while I'm looking after you, I'm like, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but if you harvest moonflower on the night of, you know, the fullest moon in Anur, then all the poison will be drained out of your body. I just like naturally am telling you secrets because you've just been initiated. It's like, here you go. This is your life now.
Oh, that's
like,
perfect.
That's
and
awesome.
That's
like without
actually,
knowing. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I think those secrets that Camille was feeding Ampix is actually what made her better. It wasn't the food or like the medical care. It was like her absorbing all of these little bits of hidden knowledge.
Oh,
Yeah,
because
and
you're
then,
fed
like,
on secrets now. Oh my God, you really are fed on secrets. I love it. I love it. It's not
And-
like it's not just that you're denying yourself. Like they actually sustain you. So that's good.
and those are like loving, nourishing secrets from my people from ages past. So there's secrets that probably don't maybe nourish you as much, but maybe this was a nice balm in the middle of the woods.
That's great.
Very good.
Okay, Camille. Oh, and I just wanted to check, Ampix, the secret that you were wrestling with, is that the secret to be determined later, or is it the thing about Etienne getting out of the wedding? Your initial secret.
For simplicity's sake, let's say it's the Etienne wedding secret.
Okay, all right.
Maybe there's some other reason it bothers her as well to be discovered.
Okay.
Maybe there's some other implications too.
Yeah.
Should I go ahead?
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Okay. I think I want to get involved in some mystical business. So let's go with, how has sorcery poisoned your home in the wilds and the creatures there that you love? Who have you shared this horror with? So I think what has happened is that in the cliffs where I come from, there are many gates in the form of tunnels and passageways that maybe lead places that you wouldn't think they would. And my people, for many, many, many years, and the great cats that raised me have used these tunnels to navigate the cliffs. And we have recently, the gates have not always led where we would expect them to. And in addition to that, things have been coming through the gates that normally would have no way to our home. So I think that the gates are acting up, and I think that things from below, and maybe ancient enemies of the great cats, are finding their way to our place. And things that should have been locked behind gates, deep in the stone, have been murmuring and making themselves known, maybe slowly stirring. So yes, sorcery is causing, and I also think that just thinking about gates and about, I think that Camille is definitely a mountain cat person, but also is like is a person who can scale heights. So in the cities, can climb towers, can run on roofs. It doesn't feel the same, but I think I am that kind of person, and also the kind of person who would traverse through gates and who would know their way through tunnels and crevices and passageways. And the city is strange to me, and I'm still learning it, but in some way it reminds me of my home. I know that the natural world and the city inherently, in some ways, are opposed, but I also like the idea that some parts of the city interest me like that. Who have I shared this horror with? I'm interested in both options. Does anyone have any feelings about it?
I mean, it kind of, in a way, dovetails with the thing that I was going to pick for you. So,
Cool.
I'm just going to make a mention of the question, and then, like, we can try to work how, why you shared it with me.
Please.
And I was going to pick, which spirits do you whisper to in the dark of the night, and who watches you speak to them, and why does this make them sad? So I think you've seen me, or maybe you asked me to come and see the stirrings of these gates that don't go where they're supposed to, or the things that are coming out that threaten your people. And so I think I'm there to talk to them. And I think you're sad. But again, it's like, I may be wrong. I think you're sad because it's like I'm getting along with these things. This is not new to me. This is not strange. This is not threatening to me. And so I think it makes you sad that, I have a rapport, and I think you might be wondering, like, how deep in the darkness I'm going to fall sometime.
Yeah. And I came to you to share this horror. Like, it's
Yeah.
sort of implicit in the question that this is something that is deeply strange and wrong to my people.
Yes.
And I care about you enough to come to you with this problem, but it also, in doing that, it helps me see you more and more as almost kin to this strangeness.
Yeah.
And that's really good.
And sad.
Wow.
Yeah, and sad. I just like, oh God, no. Don't be
So
lost in
Cersei,
darkness.
so
Cersei.
Cersei, you went out to the cliffs with Camille, and he showed you these tunnels and the horrible things coming out of them, and you just sort of talked to them and befriended them. In a way, is that what I'm
Yeah, I
understanding?
mean, like
Yeah.
they're like, they're I don't have to fight them. I don't have to combat them. I can talk to them and they understand me. And that's creepy as shit, It's like I'm the spooky one, So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh no. Oh noes.
Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Right on.
The
Okay.
shadows
Awesome.
gather round.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Okay. So that's yours. Do you want to say any more about it? I think that's a lot already.
Yeah, no. I mean, like I'm just thinking it's like, again, it dovetailed fairly well with like mine. And I mean,
Mm.
like, do you think that's the reason that you're sad about it? Or it's like, there's something else?
Uh, yes, I think that is a perfectly good reason. I think that um, I think it, yeah, it makes me sad to um to know that you've burdened yourself with this power, and to in some ways it I can see how brave and powerful you are, because you are able to retain your sense of humanity and of good in doing this and relating to these dark powers. But yeah, I think we can leave it at that.
I think you expected me to beat them up or like close them off, like not talk to them. It's like I think you were expecting me to be a lot more adversarial to them rather than what I ended up being, which was like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, and I think it made me sad realizing that there's no just easy fix to this. Like you didn't close it all up. Like sorcery has changed my home forever, and you might be able to stave them off for a while. You may be able to sing the song of sleep to the great
Yeah,
shadow that lives under the mountain, but
sure.
uh it's not going away.
No, unfortunately not. And I also I think I tell you this too, and that's like that's another thing that's like making you sad. It's like, oh, you mean like you can't just dispel this? No, I can't.
Hmm. Okay. Awesome. Jonathan, go for it.
Oh wow. I'm just looking at some of the other questions because I
Hmm.
don't think that third one,
Right.
I don't know if that speaks to me.
No, there's a ton. So
There's
yeah.
so many, and I mean that Atlantean artifact would be really cool. Would be really cool. I'm getting strong Cersei vibes from that one. Are we gonna do 3 or 4? Because if we're gonna do 4, then I reckon I'll take that one as the third one,
My plan
and
was for
then try
4,
and
unless
is the
it's
plan
unless
for
you.
4?
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
okay, cool.
if
So
you're
then
getting impatient with it, let me know. But yeah,
no,
plan
no,
for
no.
4.
I think that sounds good because then I'll try and find one for Ampex after that. Because I'd like, but I think I like it with I think this is a good one for Cersei. So if you don't mind, Mads, I'll do another one with Cersei.
Sure.
What sorcerous Atlantean artifact did you once pull up from the depths in a fishing net? How has it scarred or changed you? And who is fascinated by the scar? So I figure that Cersei would be fascinated by a scar from an Atlantean artifact. Um, so um, so I like the idea that it's across the like either the chest, like the chest to the abdomen kind of thing. It's got like a long. I don't know how Cersei would have seen this necessarily, though. I imagine that Etienne's often got their ruffled shirt kind of open and stuff. Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
right.
he gonna
Yeah.
show it off, okay?
Yeah,
He's
that's
not
right.
gonna be like,
Yeah,
Nah,
no,
he's
he's not gonna be
coy.
like that at
No,
all.
that's
they're
not
not
Etienne's
coy. They're
way.
not coy. Etienne's not coy. No.
Yeah.
No, you're not
Um,
shy.
That's right. And so that's the scar, but what's the artifact? Um, what's the artifact? Any ideas, man?
I mean, I would think that it has to be something that would scratch you.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's something that would fascinate you enough for you to get close enough to it to
Mm.
either accidentally or
Mhm.
coincidentally scratch you. What would you be
Oh,
Mhm.
fascinated by? You know?
I think I don't know. I mean, it could be anything. But
Like
I
a
kind of
mirror, like a cool
it,
weapon. I
it
don't
could be like
know.
a brass or bronze clockwork kind of thing where something sharp comes out of it at intervals,
Oh,
or
a trap. It's a trap.
and it might have some other original function, but now it's a trap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like who? It may also be that like these things
Oh,
have functions we don't know.
I got it. I got it. I got
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah, I
like,
like
tell me,
that
tell me what you
expression.
tell me what you think. Like, you
Do it.
find this wonderful chased cup,
Mhm.
but because of how you held it or looked at one of the jewels or something, then it pricked you with one of those, like, those hidden needles, like
Okay.
quick,
Ah.
That's
and then like
cool.
it created a scar
Yeah.
that opened up. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
So it's
Um,
either on your arm or your wrist, like, however
yeah.
you were holding the cup.
Yeah.
And
On the hand, like
yeah,
on
yeah,
the palm of
yeah.
the hand, I think.
It's something
Yeah.
that's very apparent, like, or the back of the hand, whichever, like,
On the back of
like
the hand, yeah.
something. And then, like, the scar.
I think I like the palm because
Yeah, yeah.
it has the implications of, like, fortune,
Hmm.
the like a yeah, fortune and prognostication and that sort of, like, if, and also when you give your hand to someone, if you
Hmm.
that it's not immediately apparent, but then if you can, like, that a passerby could see it, but if you give your hand to someone intimately or anything, they'll
Does it have a
definitely see it.
does
So
it have a tactile feel? Do they feel it when you shake their hand?
yeah, it's got like a ridge, I think, like it's kind of like, I don't
Huh.
think it's too hideous. Like, I don't think it's like
No.
a pocket or anything, but I think it's got like kind of like a line, like a really strong line that's kind of like a ridge
Can I
that's
can I tell you what Cersei sees?
yeah, go for it.
I think that even though it's like it's kind of covered over to everybody else, it's a scar, whatever. But I think
Mm,
every time that maybe she reaches for your hand or you reach for her, whatever, to touch or what have you, I think
mhm.
she sees like the shimmer of the shadows
Cool.
around it and in it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
So there are like shadows, like it's almost like it's open with shadows kind of pouring out,
Matt
yeah.
is
or
in the
something like
chat
that. Yeah.
saying, "Is
Yeah.
Etienne a gate now?"
Oh shit! Oh no! Oh, this is already
Oh,
so,
oh
Oh,
boy.
so fun, so fun. Oh my
that's
god.
awesome.
If he
All
turns into
right.
a gate, then I don't think he's got to worry about the betrothal problem.
Got bigger
Yeah.
issues. But like maybe there's
That's
just
right.
a quiet gate in that palm and you see it and
Mm.
nobody else
Mm,
sees it. Like,
no.
Yeah. I like that. That's cool. So,
I don't think she's
like
gonna tell you yet. I don't think she's gonna say anything. If it gets bigger.
yeah.
Oh shit. Oh no.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So cut by a chalice. Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
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 Awesome. Um, okay. Ampix, your third one.
Yeah, I had one picked up. Give me 1 second. What resentment do you secretly harbor against your god? Why can you never leave them? Who here wishes you could? Um, I think I think the root of the resentment that I harbor towards Luther is like I'm always hungry. Like no matter how many secrets I gather, it always seems like it's never enough. And I have this like very real sense of being, Matt's used the word vessel before. I think Ampix feels much the same about her role, but like in a pejorative sense. And it's like compounded by Ampix seeing Cersei, trying to harness this power of sorcery, trying to wield it. And it's not always perfect, but it's a measure of control that Cersei has over her power that Ampix absolutely does not. So Ampix, I think, has not voiced this, but she's jealous. Yeah. But I can never leave Luther's service now because it's literally like a matter of life and death, my worship of Luther. Right?
Oh,
it's like
it's a matter of life and death.
Well, I mean, like in the sense that like the rituals of gathering secrets and whatnot are literally like sustenance for her, right?
Oh,
So it's like she
yeah,
can't
yeah.
just stop that whenever she wants. It's very much like in the fabric of her life now, regardless of whether she chose it or not. So yeah, so the last part of this question is who here wishes I could leave the service of my God? Just because I don't have another bond with Cersei for my questions, I'm wondering if it could be her. What do you think, Matt?
I mean, I do think it makes sense. I mean, I think there's something disturbing about your ascetism that just doesn't like gel with what Cersei's about, I guess.
I will say that Camille very much wants that too. I'll fight for it if we're doing 4, but if we're doing 3, then
no, I mean, like that's fine. I mean, like if you like, if you think it's like it's more fitting for Camille, I mean, like that works too. So
I'm down. Yeah.
Well, here's what I was thinking. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
No, you're good.
I think that Camille feels strongly about this because of that like first interaction between them was very like it was a little sensual. It was like kind of animalistic. It was like a wounded person and like caring for each other a little bit. And I think that in some ways, like Camille cares for Ampix very much, but feels this like intense spiritual disconnect from them because you like Camille, is like a cat and feasts like a cat and is part of the natural visceral world like a cat, and Ampix is like part of another world, and Camille I think wants to like love you or like is in some ways enchanted by you, but like knows that you are part of entirely different worlds, and if you could leave the service of your God, maybe you could come live in the woods with me, but you can't. So that's my pitch. I guess I'm romancing Ampix a little bit.
No, I love that. I'm like so in.
Okay.
Nice.
Oh, that's great.
Amazing.
And it doesn't. Sorry, my dog's barking. It doesn't have to be the same amount of questions for everybody. You can have more dice in one relationship than in another. But I love this. I think this is fantastic. I just gotta write that down. Okay. I think Camille, you're next.
Okay. I kind of want to put a little bit of like playful lightheartedness into our story with this one. Maybe a little bit of an anime moment. So the prompt is, what spirits from your wilderness home have followed you here? Why do you wish they would go away? Who else have they made themselves visible to, and how has that been a problem? So I think that these spirits that have followed me from my home are spirits of like honesty and basically I think I'm always trying to hide my secret feelings for both Etienne and for Ampix, and these spirits are constantly betraying me and like teasing me, and no one else really can see them, but maybe um maybe Cersei can see them. And so Cersei has like a window into my heart a little bit. That was
Oh,
just
she's like seeing these pointers like
yeah. Um, yeah, totally. And I think they also like might betray other feelings that I might have too. So it's not always just about like my crushes, but that's how we get like some of that side of the story in for sure a little bit.
oh
And
sure.
I think we have this sort of spirit-based bond too, because I came to you for help with
Yeah,
the strange world of spirits.
sure.
And I think because we're connected in that way, you can see the spirits that are from my home. In some ways, you helped heal my home, right? So
Yeah.
they like you too, so they show themselves to you. But they like to mess with me because I grew up with them. They're like my little siblings or something.
I can see them when they're like on either shoulder or what have you, or like right above you, like say they're almost like holding, if they could hold up signs, they'd be like, Camille loves, or they're like,
Yeah, they're just singing "Kiss the Girl," but no one else
yes,
can hear it.
I can.
Except you.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
And how has that been a problem? I mean, yeah,
Well,
I think we know.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, so basically everybody else is like wondering why the hell is Cersei laughing her ass off. Can't say why because nobody else will see it.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, God.
You guys, I got it. I'm capturing as much as I can, like the kiss the girl bit. So like, and only Cersei and Camille can hear it, like and see it and see the the pile on of spirits. Yeah. Okay. Last round of questions. Cersei, go for it.
I think, and I'm gonna like leave this out to the table because I don't know, like, who would feel this way. So, how has sorcery remade your body in a way that you love despite all its strangeness? So, I think she will go around in these like loose flowing clothing, like robes or anything that would kind of disguise the way she moves. And like already her hair is like, cascading down and also responding to a wind again that's not really there. So, um I think her body itself is more not pliable or flexible in a strange way, like in like one of those like, bone cracking, ew, creepy kind of ways. It's more like more fluid because it's almost like seeing dark water made of shadows,
Mm.
and then maybe kind of like opens up in certain respects depending on how she moves or what she's thinking. And so she really loves it because it's kind of fascinating, right? Because I mean, like, her body will look mostly human, but then there are times where it'll shift into this dark fluid that seems iridescent and gleams with this with yeah, um mystical shadows, or kind of gives the illusion of being darkness, just something that just really embodies sorcery in certain respects. And I think, who would have seen her outside of um her loose clothing, or gotten
Mm.
a sense of it, or have seen her like, maybe like bathing in the moonlight, or like um, I don't know, like just free where she doesn't really care whether you see, because I mean she trusts you enough to be able to show that and know that you're okay with it, or you're like fascinated too. I mean something. So whoever wants to take that.
What is that, the actual prompt that you're choosing?
So number 10, how has sorcery remade your body in a way you love despite all its strangeness? Who else doesn't see it with disgust?
Mhm.
Because it's definitely strange.
But it sounds lovely. It sounds beautiful.
Yeah. I think I think if you wanted to, I think it wouldn't disgust Etienne.
Okay.
I think I think that as I think that would, especially the way that you portrayed it. Like I like the idea of bathing in the moonlight, that sort of thing. Like maybe on a ship one time they were together, and they saw there was a becalmed, or there was a calm night, and somehow or other Etienne was there when Cersei was bathing and saw it and wasn't disgusted, found it attractive, or fascinating, like
I mean,
that would.
I think in that respect, I think it was either in the like the makeshift tub that they had created like for the bathe, or maybe even like coming off of the ship and then like kind of
Mm,
swimming around it or something like that. But I think
Mm,
any way you shake it, I think what you thought you saw at first was the
mm,
reflection of the water on me. Like
mhm,
maybe I was like dressed in some kind of silky robes or something like that. And then you realized it was actually my body that was doing the reflection, because it was as iridescent as the surface of the
mm.
water reflecting the sky, reflecting the night sky. And so, yeah. Or,
Well, maybe
yeah.
if it's cool with you, maybe they went swimming together,
Oh, yeah, that would be so cool. Yeah,
and
Diddy
then
dipping!
absolutely.
and then they saw that.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah. Etienne would not shy away from that for
Oh,
sure.
no, 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 for sure.
Okay,
Cool.
so on a becalmed night on a voyage,
Yeah.
you two went skinny dipping together.
Oh, yeah.
Love it. So good. Okay, Tim, go for it.
Okay, I want to do something um with Ampex. Um, so if you've got any of my questions that draw you in, please tell me. Um,
I'm scanning them now.
mm, well, I just saw number 13, but I don't want to bang on that original one too much. I kind of like we could totally do that with the whole egg scandal, um I kind of I feel like maybe it'd be good to have something new.
Um,
What do you think?
what do you think about number 11?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Etienne getting around.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
of course.
Because I
Yeah.
think that fits in with maybe why the news of your betrothal kept me up at night. It was the
Oh,
divine stuff, but there was also
Oh
something personal
wow,
going on.
yeah. Oh, maybe you're eating your own secret there as well.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
mm.
That's cool. Yeah, awesome. Do you have any do you have any ideas about how Ampix and Etienne became were lovers?
It had to have been before you changed, right? Before you became like the mystic of Latour.
Hmm. I think
Hmm.
so. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'm a very
Yeah.
different person than I was then.
Mm.
Mm.
Um,
What's the most noticeable thing that's different about Ampix
Well,
from
you
then?
become so
The
gaunt,
ATM and
right?
is it just the physical stuff?
It's the physical, but I think she also had like a Oh, maybe she was like a traveling like musician or something, like a bard kind of thing, and perhaps we like sailed together, like she was on your ship for a while.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
And she used to be like very like, boisterous maybe is going too far, but like much more full of life than she is now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
More carefree.
Yeah,
A little bit
yeah,
more
for
carefree.
sure.
Yeah.
She knows all your favorite songs.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh yeah, she definitely knows a lot of ATM secrets. Yeah.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
and why are we still friends? Well, definitely because
I
you're
mean,
keeping my secret for sure. But before that, why? Because I feel like that it's kind of more recent.
I think I still want to be around you because I still yearn for you.
Hmm.
But I
Okay.
fear that I've changed so much that like what we had before is not recapturable.
Mm. That's beautiful.
oh yeah. Wow.
Cool. Yeah, and Etienne definitely likes enjoys your company and like he they um obviously still drawn to Ampix and
Mm.
but also like has lots of other interests.
A lot of irons in the fire. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Oh, thanks, Errol.
Oh,
That's great.
okay. I'll go ahead.
Okay.
Awesome.
I definitely want this one here to Cersei. So actually, I'll do the same thing. Mads, is there any one of my questions that you find particularly appealing for Cersei?
Let me see. I'm drawn to 10, but that begs me to ask the question. It's like, so what is your intimacy with Latour?
I mean, I think the effect that Luther has had on her body and her lifestyle is by nature fairly intimate.
Okay.
Um, I wonder if it's like, because it sounds like your connection to sorcery has also changed you physically quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a sense between us, regardless of whatever tensions there might be,
Mm-hmm.
that like we're the each is the one who understands the other best, at least in that dimension.
Yes.
So that's like something that is very impactful to us, an experience that we've kind of shared that we have to go to each other to kind of deal with or talk through or that
I
kind
mean,
of
you're
thing.
going through this kind of it's like it's not attachment, it's not possession. It's like something close that we have accepted as our blessing and our burden in our own way. And I think that the intimacy of the changes in our body and what we do for our entity, our God, whatever. I think we just know we each like we understand each other, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if anything, it's like, for this idea of secrets, I think I can embody as well as show you this is the shadow. this is the illusions that I enrobe myself with to be able to feel close to my power. And I think I kind of show you what that feels like for a little bit. And maybe it feels just as similar to when you are feeling very intimate with Latour.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like, I don't know if that, like, I don't know if like something like that or that will make you think you want to leave your God behind for like what I do. But of course, like, you know, Latour is not gonna keep like, you know, sit down and let that, like, you know, that thought cross your mind. So I don't know what they do to mess with you in that respect.
Yeah. That's interesting because I think what you were saying about like secrets and shadows makes a lot of sense to me. And I think like secrets and like illusions or lies or shadows, whatever you want to call them, are in some ways two sides of the same coin. Like they're sort of intertwined. And I wonder if there's like, yeah, when you show me that power, I think there's a sort of magnetism almost where it's like it feels like they belong together in a strange way, even though sorcery and the gods are opposed.
I mean, I think you know, there's even a point where like I will show you, maybe you say something to me that sounds contentious, and I'm like, well, let me show you what this feels like. And then I draw the shadows in and I give you the illusion of what I feel so you can see it and feel it and experience it in all of your senses, you know, and then that's what, like, we're really close because it's like I have to be close up to you to get you to feel this. And maybe it's like maybe you have that vision of Latour, but it's actually me. And Latour ain't gonna take that well.
Mhm.
So, or, you know, what do you think you see that would make you want to leave Latour?
The thing is, I don't think it would take much to make her want to leave. I think it's about like whether or not that's possible and like
Yeah.
what kind of sacrifice that would take.
Mm.
Um, I
Hmm.
wonder how my God has gotten in the way.
Mm.
Maybe just by all the choices you've made. I mean, um, like you say, it just doesn't seem possible. If it's already not possible, Lithor doesn't have to do anything active to get in the way of it. Um, the history you have with Lithor is already making that impossible,
Yeah.
or seem impossible anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a way, but I probably not very appealing. That's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Um,
Yeah, and I mean there are costs to the sorcery too. I get the magic is always greener on the other side of the fence.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
um, but like, yeah, you know, like I'm sure it would feel great to have Cersei's trade-offs for a little while instead of your own. Um,
and maybe there's even, yeah, like a kind of literalization, like a physical manifestation of that. Like when I see Cersei, uh, you know, enacting her sorceries under the light of the moon, to me it like looks like scary and terrifying. And that's like the third giving me a reminder that perhaps the grass is not always greener.
But again, it's perception, isn't it? It's like
Mm.
might be the lie. You don't know.
It's true, yeah.
so good. Okay, Camille, you wanna bring it home? Last one. Oh, we did do 4 questions. That's funny. Originally, I was saying it was 3. I totally lost track. I love all these questions though, so I wouldn't trade that for anything.
Good. I think I want to introduce some conspiracy to the city. We haven't talked about any of the nastiness that can come from the realities of running a city. What in the city most disgusts you? Who is sorry you had to see it? We haven't really talked about the Mononoke style wilds versus the city extractive relationship that can happen. And I don't think the whole city is like a logging town or something. I don't think it's like an industry place. But I do think that there are forces involved that are looking for something beneath the city. And I think that this is happening in secret, and it might be something that I found stepping through a gate. I might have been a pathway that I'm used to taking, and it leads to one of my favorite places, my childhood. And because of the way sorcery is affecting my home and the network that I have come to understand, I emerged in a strange cavern that was unnaturally shaped and extended far below what I could see with my heightened senses. And I could feel the sorrow of the earth, and I can feel the intense manic desire to have something secret, to have something forgotten. I'm not going to put a lot of specifics on this. I'll just drop this in the GM's lap. If anyone else has any ideas here, they can join in. I think that I quickly stepped back through this gate before it closed behind me. But I saw something that I should not have seen. Now, the next part is who is sorry you had to see this. So maybe I confided in a person who loves secrets. Does anyone have any thoughts about this?
I mean, I'm happy to snap this one up if no one else wants to get in there. Because that's good eating for me.
Yeah.
And like from what you described, I think this is something else that would kind of put a wedge between I forgot my character's name for a second, Ampix and her god. I think this certainly concerns her. And it's like maybe the first time when you're telling Ampix about that you see like a spark of like reciprocal care for you. Like she's not great at showing other people her feelings, but in that moment it's like she reacts so strongly that you get that first sense of, oh, this distance between us can be bridged, maybe.
Yeah, and it's so tough because I almost hate to bring this to you, knowing that it is the thing that makes us different, but I still I feel like I have to do it. It's like this unrequited toxic relationship where I'm like, this isn't good for me, but almost out of desperation, I'm like, here's something I know you like. Do you like it? And I'm not sure like which of the powers that be are behind this. I'm not sure if it's the mystic that runs the city. I'm not sure if it's any one of the three sects that follow the gods. I'm not sure if it's a different party entirely. It might be something they're trying to keep from your god or something. I don't know. I'm just kind of barfing apocalyptica here because I just thought I
Yeah,
wanted to say something cool.
it's rich. I love it.
So so yeah,
Yeah.
I found a secret and I told you about it.
What if it's something to do with Latour? Like a not an atrocity, but like something that has to do with Latour to
Like,
I
supply
wonder.
with secrets, but it is something that is horrible about the city, but it's specifically with your god.
is the cult of Lithor the one that's is that the group that is digging deep underneath the city like this, and the other two cults don't know about it? Um, so like the I guess that's what I'm picturing, like that they're supposed to share everything, share power, share information to facilitate the smooth running of the city. Um, but they've got a secret plot, maybe to gain control of the city forever by finding whatever they dig up down there. I don't know. I don't know. What do you all think?
I'm super into that. I was also wondering, since we were talking about this this figure in the city that Etienne is betrothed to, I wonder if we can like link them into this plot in some way.
Yes.
I feel
That'd be
like,
cool.
your god is trying to dig in the knife too, somehow.
Mm.
Is
You
this
know.
the person, Etienne, that you were betrothed to before, and got out of through a technicality, or that you are betrothed to now?
No, betrothed to. Well, I think if Elle's talking about the same person, then I
Yeah,
think it's that was betrothed to before, but got out on a technicality, which is
right.
was not actually a technicality.
Not actually valid. Yeah. Okay, I love it.
Are they a person who possesses some like uh ancient wisdom passed down through generations about something that exists beneath the city, and are they the ones who are like sort of heading the goose chase, or like the ones who are being exploited by somebody to find this thing? Are they a secret holder? I don't know. I'm just trying to link it in since you brought that up.
I like the idea that they're the one, but like they've been wronged because Etienne has done the wrong thing, but at the same time
They're
they're
doing
the
wrong.
ones spearheading
Hmm.
this kind of overthrow, this like yeah, I like that. That appeals to me.
They could be some kind of royalty or something, or some kind of like.
Hmm.
I feel like they have to be like, involved somehow with the tour because, not only is it driving the knife that here's somebody that is trying to become betrothed with Etienne, but then
Mm,
maybe knowing or not knowing that Ampix had a relationship with Etienne at some point, and again driving the knife of like, hey, and now get your man, and and like again, like also a disciple or a mystic of Latour in their own way,
Mhm.
or like a more secular branch. I don't know
Yeah.
how this works. And then so again, like another way to drive the knife for you, and yeah, I mean but they're doing something specifically that is shady as shit in
mm,
the underground for Latour that affects or affected Camille, which was
Yeah.
absolutely disgusting. And I don't know what that thing is, but I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, from the dramatic point of view, it's like this person is
mm.
like, making like they're the wronged person, but really they're driving a lot of shit. They're really
Yeah.
like trying to dig in the knife.
Yeah, I'm picturing that there are these prestigious families in the city, pretty much evenly divided between the three cults, and this is like the scion of this family. Um, dashing, flowing hair, has um, has people ooh and ah over this person, and they seem so golden in public, and they are eaten up by this desire for this thing that will cement Lithor and all the noble families associated with Lithor as the rulers of this city, and or the the top dogs in the city. And I think that this huge cavern under the city has to tie in with the Atlantean tomb.
Mm.
There's something ancient that they're trying to dredge up from down there. So yeah, I'm picturing this person that you were betrothed to as kind of like Alcibiades from Athens, just like golden child, rich and glamorous, that everybody either wants to be or wants to be with. And it's they've got this whole other hidden face, something that
For
Lithuania is all about. Yeah. Mhm.
for what the thing is, if we want to define it now rather than later, I'm looking at my stone tablets of the elders, which I hadn't really thought much about, but I'm wondering if like every sort of adherent of Luther gets like a little piece of this larger thing, and there's like a prophecy that like when they're all put together or something, that will read out the declaration from the gods, that like will cement this city as the domain of Luther, and they are perhaps looking for the final piece down there.
Oh, interesting.
Just throwing that out there, but
Big pit for such a small thing, but I think that's interesting.
But what about it would disgust Camille though? That's the thing I'm kind of sticking out, like worm.
It's not
I was,
natural, whatever it is. Yeah, go ahead.
I was
Well-
just looking at Luthor, and I saw that under Mortal Fairs it has mirrors, and I was just, and I don't know, Elle, have you thought much? Have you had much thoughts about? Have you had many thoughts about how mirrors comes into the worship of Luthor? I was wondering if that perhaps was connected.
I hadn't established anything about it, so if you have a pitch about how mirrors might be relevant to this, I'm happy to
Well,
go with that.
I was just thinking, like, following on from what you were saying, perhaps like what Camille found was this cave of mirrors, and if you put the sage tablets is somehow in some arrangement in here, it will enact what you were suggesting before, and the way, like, the reflections of the mirrors in this Atlantean, like these Atlanteans kind of magic or technology of mirrors, was what repulsed or Camille, because the reflections that they saw some truth that they shouldn't have, or some secret, or something shocking, a reflection of themselves that was too repulsive or frightening to bear. Maybe just thinking. So it's like a Atlantean cave of mirrors or something.
That's wicked.
Yeah.
And
Elle, what was it in brief that you had pitched? I'm sorry, I had to do something while you were speaking.
I was suggesting that it might have something to do with the stone tablets of the elders. There might be like a missing piece down there that they need, like buried with. I mean, if it's a tomb, then I imagine someone important is buried down there.
Yeah.
Perhaps it's buried with them, or
And where did stone tablets come up in the past?
It was from the pick list for Ampix's character, that their accessories are these stone tablets of the elders.
Yeah. My character apparently has these things, and I don't know what they're for yet. It doesn't mean that we have to decide now, but it was just a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was saying that if the tablets were maybe if they're arranged or something in this with the mirrors and stuff, that's the key or one of the keys because there are multiple of them, right? El, is that what you're saying? That there might be more than just those stone tablets, that there might be a few, and you have if they were arranged in such a way that would unlock the secret to Lithor's dominance of the island.
There's
It could be
either
like a
multiple
God-killing
tablets or-
prophecy or
Suggesting,
something.
Say again.
I just said it could be like a God-killing prophecy or something. Like if all the
Oh.
tablets are arranged, like if it's a big power play or something, like this could be something that if set in stone, set into motion, now like overrides the truth or something about the universe or because this is Atlantean stuff, right?
Yeah, like maybe so we were saying that the cult of Lithor was trying to become predominant in the city, but it could be that they want to become predominant by just killing the gods and setting up themselves as, you know, ruling in their own name. Or they could be deceived and think that, and this is stuff we could find out in play, you know, and think that they are digging up something sacred to Lithor, mirrors being sacred to Lithor. But actually it's this Atlantean stuff, and those mirrors are all gates, and it's not going to be good.
Well, thank you for digging around in the tomb with me. I didn't really know what I opened up when I picked this prompt, but that all sounds so cool. And whatever comes of it, I'm stoked.
That is great. We've been going for a while. I think you all definitely have a web of relations, and back on the characters tab, you now each have an intensity level to your relationship with the others, which is the number of dice you can roll when doing various moves. I think that the world forces are pretty well filled in. One thing we didn't do was which god is loves the mortals and which god hates the mortals. Although I'm not sure any of the gods really love the mortals, but which one is acting benevolently by their lights? Honestly, the although we haven't talked about Cess, but like the one that seems the most benevolent so far is the god of death, just because you know where death stands.
Yeah. Death gives you fertile ground.
Well, yeah, that's right. We don't even have to fill them in. You all have made such a great like web of relationships between the gods and the people in the city that we could just leave it at that. I think that's everything for setup. I'll just briefly go over the basic moves. And you all sing out if you have any questions about any of this, or if you feel like there's something we're missing. But so the moves that everybody can do by rolling their glory dice and adding doom dice if they want to are grapple with the environment, which I just added because people are often doing risky physical things in this game, climbing or jumping or something, and there needed to be a move for what happens when you do that. There's beseech the forces, which is when you go to the gods or sorcery or the city, one of these big forces in the world, and ask them for help, which they'll either help you right away or they'll and ask for payment later, or they'll ask for some sort of tribute payment first and then help you, or you get their attention in a bad way if you roll a miss. Then there's a move that you don't invoke yourself, but I might invoke on you, which is Reel from Mighty Blow, which is very much like the take a powerful blow in Masks, where you roll dice equal to the number of wounds you have marked. And then there are several heart moves. So there's speak your heart when you either make a relationship with somebody new or strengthen your relationship with somebody. You roll with all the heart dice you have, up to 7, and take your top 2 results. This can also be used to sort of reset to 0 with somebody that you're enemies with. And then there's soothe, which is the healing move. You can heal a wound, you can clear someone's moods, and on a full success, you can heal one of your own wounds and clear your moods, or clear a box on your curse track. And then there's influence, which is a move that's still kind of, I think, trying to find its final form, but where you try to get somebody to do something they don't initially want to do. And it could be a PC or an NPC, and there are different trade-offs in either case. If it's a PC, the PC has a choice of what they want to do in response to your move. And there's hearten, which is the move I was talking about before, where after somebody rolls and gets a result they don't like, you can roll your heart dice and they can have the option of picking one of those dice. And as somebody asked in a previous playtest, multiple people could hearten, leading you to replace all your dice, or both the dice that are in your result. That's never come up, but it's theoretically possible. And then I've never used persevere. It's never come up. That's avoiding being taken out of a scene by rolling under the number of glory dice you have. We'll see if that comes up. So we've done a rather elaborate setup of the people, the places, the forces, and the relationships, and I love it, and I think it's amazing, and if you want, I'll send you this text file I have. It's kind of rough and it's not. I would want to clean it up a little, but just of all the stuff you all came up with, it's just gold. It's so good. So I think then maybe we should go into a feedback mode, or if it's really late, like it is here, we can also you can also drop and send me your feedback in Slack or whatever, but or email. Then we could start play next session, and I can think about what it all means. And although we kind of know what it all means, but I can fill in any gaps and get into more GM mode. Yeah. So how does it sound to you? And do you have any feedback that came up for you?
If we're gonna keep going, could we take a quick break?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we've been going nonstop. Yeah. Okay. Let's take a
Yeah.
10-minute break, and then I'll talk to you all in a bit. Yes.
Yeah, or even 5. Like
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. 5-minute break. Thank
5
you.
would be great.
Great.
Yeah, thank you.
5 would
Yeah.
be good.
Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, y'all. I have ADHD, and so I forget sometimes about breaks.
Feel that.
Okay. Yeah, I would love to hear any feedback that you want to offer.
Do you have any specific kinds of feedback you're
Well,
looking for?
we haven't gotten to the combat system yet, and so I'll be looking for feedback for that when it comes up, because I want to see if it's too involved and things like that. The relationship thing is new, and I'm wondering if, I mean, you all are so great with the storytelling ideas. I don't know if it would put another group, make them feel put on the spot to come up with those, answers to those questions. Was it too much? Like it took a while. Did that feel okay? Did you want more direction? Like I think toward the beginning, some people were like, well, I don't actually know that much about my character yet, but I'll say this. So that's part of what I'm thinking about. And then, yeah, just since we haven't gotten into the actual gameplay yet, because there are also the influencing moves, and there's sort of several different flavors of those. And I'll want feedback about that when those come up. But for now, it's like, was there any parts of the character generation or world building or relationship building that seemed not directed enough or too narrow, or too little or too much, things like that? Yeah.
I will say that first, the character relationships prompts are all super fun. I had a good time during that part of the session. I think that for me, as a person with intense analysis paralysis and difficulty making choices, the sheer number of questions, I think, was
Yeah.
I won't say a roadblock, because I mean, we got over it and we like have something really fun. But definitely I think that added time to the process, where I'm just like, all of these are really cool. Which one do I choose? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I could pare them down. When I first made them, I thought everybody was going to be asking twice as many questions as we did. That with a group of 6 players, that you might actually each person might be asking 10 questions, and that I'm glad that I scaled it back a little bit, because that would have been way too much. It would have taken forever. And so that's why I made so many choices. I was like, well, if there are 10 questions, you want 13 things to choose from. But I wasn't thinking about, I really just wasn't thinking. So yeah, maybe I could pare them down a bit, and that would be good.
Well, piggybacking off of that question for you, do you have a sense of like the intended campaign length for this game?
I've only done one-shots and short run things with this. I haven't tested it yet at length, at like, you know, I mean, if I haven't gone past really 2 sessions yet. So I would like for it to be playable for a long campaign. And I've, you know, I'm trying to bake in mechanics for that. There is going to be a natural lifespan to most characters, because when the number of glory dice you have meets the number of doom you have marked, your character stops being a playable character. And that's, I don't have a sense yet of how long that is.
So we play to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Right.
was just curious, like relative to the amount of material we've generated, even just asking 4 questions is like, I could see that sustaining us for sessions on sessions.
Yeah.
So I was just curious about that and how
I would
this
love for it to be
might
long.
interact.
Yeah, as long as any PBTA game can be. So I
Mhm.
figure 20 sessions is probably the maximum that PBTA can usually do. But I also like the idea that I think Fellowship does, of where you can sort of tack on a half of a playbook that opens up new narrative possibilities. But I don't want to get greedy. First, I just want to make a functional game.
That's admirable.
But I think that one thing I'm finding with the party questions, the relationship questions, is that because of what I want those questions to end up doing mechanically, which is give you a die for each question that you answer or that somebody answers about you, it expands geometrically. Like, you know, if you have 2 players, you ask 2 questions. Or if you have 3 players, you ask 2 questions. You have 4 players, you ask 3 questions. But like, that means each person is asking that many questions. And so I think I have to change how it shakes out mechanically, so that the number of questions doesn't balloon when you have a full table of people. You know, eventually I'll have more than 5 playbooks once I get the basic loops down. And there could be, you know, I never want to run a game with more than 6 people, but even 6 people would be a ton of questions.
Yeah.
So I'm going to change how that works. I'll figure out how to do that.
I've seen in like Forged in the Dark, and I've seen, I believe it's in Masks or Urban Shadows or both, that it's usually like 2 relationship questions that you establish. And if you want to kind of keep this like how many dice, conceivably you could consider possibly like a weighted system, right? So like you only give maybe 4 choices,
Mhm.
Each player answer or like, picks the two other players. Like, so basically like you only answer two questions. However, depending on the question in the book, the playbook that you pick, the questions are weighted accordingly. Like, how heavy is this
Yeah.
relationship? So it would
Yeah.
equal 5 dice. And if it's
Yeah.
like, your basic, okay, what's my favorite color? Then a 1, like something
Right.
like that. But I mean, like, again, like you can have like 5 choices, but they can only answer 2, and then the amount of dice would be weighted. So like how heavy duty is that question, that would weight the relationship and increase the amount of dice that they would
And
get.
I think there are questions that you all answered that are that could have been answered in a way that was mild, what's your favorite color kind of thing, that you all took deep. And so you could also vote at the time that you answer, like, okay, how many dice is that? Um, but I love this idea of weighted questions or weighted answers that where you only have to ask 2 of the questions, like you said. Yeah.
And then like that gives you like an idea of like how much time it's going to take for however many players. And
Yeah.
then, again, like depending on how heavy they want this thing to go, like, okay, we were lovers once, and then like, now we're enemies, or what, I don't know, however the hell you want to work it. And that's worth 5, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, totally. Okay, thank you. That's really helpful.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was thinking along the same lines as Mads as well, like with like the way Apocalypse World does it with you've got the questions hex +3 for some, but hex -1 for others and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's a good I saw that as one of your inspiration games, like and it's one of my favorites as well. So but
It's brilliant. Yeah,
yeah.
it's I wish I thought like the bakers think, because it's amazing. Um, yeah, yeah. And I have to figure a way to do it that follows with my base mechanics, as long as I stick with them, of like rolling more or fewer dice. But yeah, I think that translates pretty well. I will be interested to see if you all feel like there isn't enough of a penalty with a dice, because if your base is 2 dice, like I say, you always have a pretty good chance of success. But we'll work that out. We'll get through that. Um, we haven't really had a chance to get into the mechanics yet.
I guess the one thing I would add is that, um, yeah, I think 3 questions is a good amount of questions. Four was a bunch, and I love doing this stuff, so I have no problem with it. With a group like this, we're definitely going to go in on all the questions because it's very easy to imagine and to make all the things happen. Some groups might have a lot shorter answers and a lot more simple connections between the characters, and I think that is just fine. I think it's worth thinking about. Some of these questions are pointed like the characters directly at each other and really just about their relationship with each other. And then some of them are like almost a prompt to add plot stuff to the game. And then like what other character is like involved with that. And I think there's a big range in what you're prompting the players to invent. And if it's more about relationships, it might help if they were more really about how they relate to each other and less about like, what's going on in the world. Because some of these, it was like, what's going on in your home? What is sorcery poisoned about your people? And I was like, oh, that's awesome. But it lets me almost play the setup GM role a little bit. And I guess just thinking about where's the setup distributed, and like we already did a bunch of amazing world generation. This was cool to get some specifics that really related to our characters. But yeah, I guess that's just something to think about. Like I liked answering all the variety of questions. I liked having the simple one where like Etienne is like a bird. And then like also Cersei came to my home to close gates to where the horrible monsters live, and it makes me sad, and stuff like that. Like there's a big range, and I like that. But I think some players might like to have a little narrower of a experience with that.
Yeah, yeah. And maybe this goes back to what Mads was talking about, of like maybe those world building questions are more intense, lead to a more intense relationship, or certainly the questions are going to be more expansive, like you say. So
I mean, I find it
yeah,
interesting of the subtitle that you put on our little like foreshot, which is Hearts Caught Between Glory and Doom. So I mean, already it sounds like, you were kind of gearing it for the relationship part. So I mean, like,
yes,
those seemed more appropriate for this particular way that you wanted to play it. And like I think we're all very experienced role players. So yeah, I mean, like, you ask us for a story, we're gonna give you like 3 novels.
it's
So
amazing. Yeah, and I want to realize how lucky that is and not planned that everybody's going to be like that. That's maybe a problem, not a problem. That's an issue with the Gauntlet, but it's so many amazing players here.
Regarding the kind of breadth of types of questions that Matt was talking about, I mean, I'm thinking about the work we all did together, kind of defining the world forces at the beginning. And I wonder, I mean, obviously there are questions there like which god loves the mortals and which god hates the mortals that kind of help point towards ways in which like our characters can actually like interact with these grand, sometimes unseen forces. But I wonder if there's a way of sort of shifting the questions that are currently in the party section that kind of focus on that larger world to the world forces building out. Like maybe for each force, there's, a question for each playbook that like if that playbook is in play, when you're defining that force, you answer that question then, and that gives you like a personal hook into it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also, like,
Fellowship.
oh, go
I
on.
was just going to say, Fellowship kind of does that really well, where like you've got the playbooks, it splits the narrative authority or control of the different aspects of the world by the playbook. That's also that does that really nicely, and I like the point. Sorry to interrupt, Matt. If you wanted to go, you jump in anytime. But I really liked Matt and Elle's points. They resonated with me as well about how the questions were divided and whether they were on relationships or world building and the mix there. And one thing that I just want to preface because I haven't said it yet, but I loved it so far. I love the setup and everything is really good. And I can't wait to get into the because I feel like we've already been playing, so it's not just set up this to play, but like also getting into the basic moves and getting into the more of the story, and our characters. But I wanted to say that one thing that it made me a little bit. It felt like I was a little bit restrained in answering some of those questions was that I felt like I needed a bit more guidance in terms of the direction that we were going in the setup, like because I wasn't sure what our party is doing or what the party really is and how to define how to define the relationships within the party and within our relationships of the characters to the world in the absence of that, like I found a bit difficult. Like, so it was hard to, during the world building phase, it felt like we were kind of taking that kind of narrative step back and doing it as, separated from our characters and then jumping into our characters for the relationships, but at the same time, not really knowing how our characters fit into the party and how the party fitted into the world. And that was, we could do it and like we can keep that unknown, but it felt like we could there's an opportunity there potentially to tie it stronger if we could see how we were getting from character creation to world to party to if there was kind of like a that was kind of signposted in how we in how where what directions we were going. It kind of only occurred to me like I remembered later that the questions we were answering was defining how strong our relationships were, like and that some of the questions, like back to Mads's point, was that the intensity of the relationship wasn't necessarily connected to the heaviness of the intensity of the question, more to the number of questions. And so that was also something that I'd forgotten along the way, like, and with that kind of like having that signpost or direction of this is what what the party's going to be doing in the game, and this is where we're going to be starting, and how the world building and the character creation gets us there would help kind of further that a lot, like kind of drive that along that
Yeah.
but it doesn't have to, but like if it
But like
could
some sort
be
of
an opportunity.
general sketching in of your initial setup, your initial uh, how why you all are together, or what you're doing in the city, something like that. Even if it's generic, that might give you some grounding. When last time I play tested this, and there wasn't the party tab, there were pick lists that people picked of like the general nature of your relationship with each of the other characters, and there was just a drop down of lovers, ex-lovers, kin, traveling companions, all this stuff, and then another drop down pick list for like the sort of nature of the relationship. I would do anything to protect them, some things like that, much more generic than what we have now. But you could do that immediately after filling out the pick list for individual characters and introducing yourselves, and that I think gives you a bit of a skeleton to hang things on. So maybe I want to bring a little bit of that back in. I'll have to figure out how that works, obviously, but maybe it's like you say, it's as simple as some signposting of okay, here's what you have so far. Let's get into the relationships or something like that. Or I might put it into the nature of the questions that are asked, that they might imply some of these things. Just basic stuff, like you say, sort of material stuff of where are you staying, how are you keeping body and soul together, kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that sounds good, and some maybe some more in the pitch about what the heroes or the protagonists will be doing, like for example in Agon, we know that the heroes are lost traveling from island to island, and each island they have to they're trying to carry out the wills of the gods in that island. Is in Defy the Gods, what is it that the party will be doing that we're it doesn't have to be specific, like if it's more just general kind of sword and sorcery or adventure or that sort of stuff, that's fine too. But just something to give us, I felt like, to give us some guide in as to what the party would be doing.
That's good. And I think in keeping with sort of this sword and sorcery source material, I want to keep you all very street level to start with. So it really is like doing odd jobs kind of thing to keep your body and soul together. Obviously now we have all this rich stuff, all these stories to work with, so I'll make it more specific than that. But I think if I were to give a kind of generic guidance of what the characters are even doing, I would do that. Like I would keep it street level. I would keep it, you are looking for odd jobs kind of thing. Anyway, sorry, Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, you could have them choose like a primary and a secondary, one of these like 6 parts of the world that they're interested in, like getting entangled with, or some part of the world forces setup. Letting people, like, because you could almost have like a play set for each of these like world forces, like how Girl by Moonlight does it, where it's like, this is a different game when you're dealing with the world of death, and like this is going to be a death themed game, and all the heroes are going to venture into the land of death, or like all that stuff, or it's going to be a spirit world game or something. Just having some way to like have that input in the start, because the heroes are all from these very different like parts. And I guess I felt that a few times being like the wild one, and we were getting a lot into the mysticism and the city and the gods and stuff, and I was like, this is so cool, and I love all that stuff, but also I want to make sure that my character is involved. And the prompts really helped with that. The questions like made sure that I was intertwined, but like our domains are very different, and that is classic sword and sorcery. Like you have the people of all the different kinds, right? But yeah, just having something to help us
all pouring ourselves at something while we're doing the creation. Because there's also the games that are like the Sword of the Crown, the Unspeakable Power, and Apocalypse World, where it's like you're all just like different archetypes, and you're just in this place together, and something's gonna happen, and it's all charged, and it's sexy, and it's mystical, and all that stuff. And I think that is really fun to just find out what the story is about. But you could also experiment with like, here's the thrust of what's happening, or seeding the creation process, or messing with the order of operations or something. But this is a whole bunch of feedback, but I do want to say, after Jonathan said it, that I'm gonna take this whole character keeper, and next time I have a fantasy game, I'm just gonna take a whole bunch of this stuff and be like, okay, here's all the pick lists, let's just do exactly this, because we got so much cool stuff. Like just all of us creating the gods with all the domains, and the mortal affairs and the natural world and stuff, and like getting to choose the nature of sorcery, and then the city setup was really good, and we had some I just loved the whole process of it. So I just wanted to commend you on setting that up for us and leading us through it very great pace, and everyone was involved all the way through, and it was really engaging. There's a lot of like short little decisions that we made in turn in the start, and that was just so fun. So
I'm glad.
Thanks.
Thank you. The two things that have been strongest so far are that people have at least expressed the most positive feedback are like the world building in general and the gender pick lists in particular.
oh yeah,
Yeah, those
So-
are awesome.
lightning strikes the cliffs. Are you kidding me?
Obviously, I've taken that from Sleepaway and Dream Askew, which started that whole thing.
It's different in Sword and Sorcery though.
Yeah, right. All right, cool. Thank you so much. This is really helpful. If there's anything else that you want to say, feel free to message me or get me on a video call if you want. And I'm going to save this recording and make sure Ray has a chance to see it if he has time. Are you all okay if I make it available for the Gauntlet video roundup thing?
Of course.
Okay, awesome. All right, you're all amazing. I'll see you in a week.
See you in a week.
Okay,
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Chris.
Thanks,
Thanks, Chris. This was
everybody.
great.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.